Hey everyone, and welcome to Living by the Law, the podcast discussing fictional worlds and how wondrous and ridiculous they are. My name is Matt, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Jude and Guy. Living by the Law is not currently sponsored. If you wish to sponsor us, create an international crime-fighting organization. Protect the world from devastation and unite all people within all nations. Denounce the evils of truth and love and extend your reach to the stars above. Create a giant mechanized suit and carve your sponsorship offer into the side of a mountain. We will hear you. We always do.
In this episode, we're talking about Overwatch, reviewing a parallel universe where big corporations have to answer for their actions and superheroes are held responsible for their mistakes. 1 out of 10. Shit universe. Heads up, this episode contains spoilers for the Overwatch promo videos, comics, and lore, as well as the Shawshank Redemption later in the episode.
So guys, I do have a question for you.
I don't want to answer it.
I don't know
You
if I
do.
do either.
I've got a serious question, I've got a joke question. Which one do you want?
Neither of them.
I want both of them.
Okay, which one do you want first? Do you want the good news or the bad news?
Good news?
Good.
No, bad
Bad
news
news.
first,
Bad
and then
news.
good news
Bad
to clean the
news
palate,
first.
yeah.
That is okay, cool. Okay. First news. Do you think, I'll do the serious question first.
Okay.
Do you think that we will ever actually have a system where we have like VR integrated into our daily lives? Like, for example, like you will go watch a movie, you'll put on a headset to watch a movie, or in a classroom you put on a headset and there's like AR around the room, like alternate reality, augmented reality.
Sorry, I phased out. I was just imagining if I could VR into Lord of the Rings and like touch Ian McKellen's
Exactly,
beard.
that kind of thing. Like you go into a book or go into a movie, go into a video. Like we already have video games set up, but what about you go into a movie? Do you like, because everyone has like a phone on them. Everyone has a computer in the house. And there was one point in life where we didn't have computers in every household, and that was rare to have a computer. If you had a computer, that was weird. So now it's like you have to be expensive to have a VR headset. But
I think from a purely technology point of view, I think it's definitely a thing that could happen because, like you say, you got to be careful what you say no to, because if you went back to the creation of mobile phones and went, hey, everyone's going to have one of these in their pockets one day, you'd be, burnt at the stake. Well, not, you know what I mean?
You're not going to have a calculator in your pocket.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas I feel like it's more the thing that's probably more the issue here is like how popular that would be.
Yeah.
Because like I can say one thing that's, I mean, it's not a huge thing, but like take 4K DVDs for example. As someone that has to sell 4K DVDs occasionally, you'd be amazed how little they sell, even though they're friggin' amazing. Like they're really, really good quality and stuff, but people just
honest,
aren't interested because
I wouldn't,
it's like,
because I don't have a DVD player.
I don't have a 4K TV.
yeah, exactly. Well, yeah,
Either.
there's issues of that type, and then it's also just the thing of like people are just, I'll just stream it on the interwebs. There's so
Just
many other
easier,
things.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I feel like it's one of those things where like, because of what people already have access to, you might find that they end up, it just never catches on. Like it becomes the technology people could have in their home, but it just doesn't catch on fully. You know what I mean?
No, fair enough.
My citations of the applications, I have 2 novels that I'll cite as things that I would hope for, admittedly not the circumstances necessarily. One of them is a comic series called Space Boy, which is very lovey-dovey and romantic. No, legit. Space Boy.
It's called Space Boy.
It's called Space Boy. It's a very good comic by Stephen McCraney. And it's basically, there's a whole bunch of, love and friendship and whatever the fuck. But one of the cool bits about it is it's in the future, and it's got a school thing where everyone has essentially glasses on, and it's just AR, and it turns it almost into like, a video game type thing where people just have fucking cosmetics on and just like chilling out, but also using it in classrooms applications. It's like carrying an iPad nowadays, bring your own device, bring your own AR.
That's what I was thinking.
So that's a fun thing. The other one that I'll cite is Ready Player One, which admittedly, hope that the world doesn't go that direction, but the Oasis as an idea is an extremely cool thing, and we kind of have in VR chat, although, kind of a combo of that and Second Life would be somewhere I'd be hoping for rather than just that.
And then Ready Player One, it's more of like people go to school in the Oasis.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Stuff like that. It's part of their life.
It essentially became easier because of the overpopulation of the world to just have online, because you don't have to worry about finding space for schools because it costs too much. You're just gonna find houses.
There's no way they'd get schools and universities run online from home. What are you talking about?
It's ridiculous. How could you do that?
You'd never have that.
There was
happen.
one funny stipulation, which is funny to me because it means the author has thought about it, which is the fact that it was stipulated that while in school, students have to keep human avatars. You can't come to school as a fairy. You cannot come to school as a fairy. Not allowed.
I want to be a fox. Let me be my persona.
But also
at
because he
school.
talks about when he leaves.
comes to school with like Aragorn as my avatar.
No, because people
It's an absolute win.
There's a thing because he like during the movie, and the movie visualizes it quite well. But in the book, he describes it where he's like wandering around in one of the public areas, and there's just like tiny dwarf, massive orc, and like a space woman. And it's just like that'd be a little bit distracting during class.
there's just 6 Master Chiefs and a Batman just chilling in your class.
Very good.
Yeah.
Space Boy's a little bit of a lesser known one, but I think it's a more realistic look at an education type style. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Why? Okay. Cold open. I know why you're asking this question, but that is such a fucking cold open.
It is a very cold open. That's why I kind of wanted you to pick
Matt,
the other one,
what's
but you
the
picked the wrong
casual
one.
question?
The casual question: if you could pick any character from any fictional world to punch in the face, who would it be? Because I'll start off. You think about it. I'll start off, and you probably know what's coming, but it's your good old Mundungus Fletcher. Because I want to fucking punch him in the face.
But he's
So fucking
amazing.
much. Mundungus Fletcher is the worst character in Harry Potter.
Okay, I have
will fight
an
anyone
interesting
on
one.
this.
I have an interesting point.
Okay.
I'm not saying this is the answer I want to lock in, but
Okay.
I feel like it would be really weirdly satisfying to be able to punch Voldemort in the face.
Okay.
For $10,000, you like to lock in that answer?
Because Voldemort doesn't have a nose, so you could just like square him straight in the center of the face and not worry about any damage to your hand.
You think you would leave like a fucking like a gap or like an image of your fist in his face if you punched him?
I feel like his
So there's
face
no
would be
nose?
kind of weird soft.
point-
Like you ever
it's a point
have
to
you ever
consider.
have you ever touched like a snake, like the softness sort of thing?
Yeah.
Have you ever? I feel like his face is like Have you ever touched Lego? You know the soft Lego bits that squish, the squishy Lego
No,
parts?
you criminal! What are you talking about?
There's soft Lego parts.
Like
I feel
when
like
you've
his
got
face would be that, like rubber. It'd be like rubber.
Yeah,
punching
like the
a
old,
deflated
like
tire. Yeah, Voldemort's face is like punching a deflated tire.
Why you fucking snap Lego bits together? You don't squish them together. That's criminal.
There is squishy bits.
That's criminal.
No, it's like I'm trying to remember like an example now. It's been a while, but
Heads. Usually some heads are squishy.
yeah, I was more thinking like if you've got like a little one of those like Lego, like a lever or something, it's got like a squishy bit so you can pull it back and forth.
That's
without
also
it,
that,
like,
yeah.
something like that maybe.
I appreciate for both of you. Well, Matt, you went for something you hated. Jude, you went for something you hated but balanced that with something satisfying. I'm gonna go for the far end, go for something completely satisfying, substitute a punch for a kick, and I'm gonna go with Kirby because I reckon you could fucking boot that guy like a football. That would be the fucking best.
You've destroyed the question.
And also because he's so cute, like just.
I gave you a question and you replaced half the words in it and went, "This is my answer."
I wanted to have a sliding scale of actual punching for malice versus punching for satisfaction.
Oh fuck! One day I'll do an episode on Kirby because Kirby is a fucking weird fella. That's some weird lore. That's your episode. Okay, you do it.
For it. Don't take this
Oh
away
my
from me.
God. Holy shit! Yeah, because Kirby's fucking.
It's so
strange.
bad. It's so good. I love it so much. That's next episode actually that I'm doing.
I would like to kick Kirby though. I do agree on that. That it would be satisfying. It's like
Not
just
in a
kicking- it's
malicious
like when-
way, but also he's like invincible. So
I do feel like it's like when you played like the kickball and you got to kick the ball and you kicked it real far. It'd be like that, but instead of the ball just soaring through the air, you'd hear it screaming as it went. That's like...
no, you have to contextualize that of Kirby screaming because if you just say screaming,
Exactly.
it's like ah! no, it's Kirby. It's like Wah!
Kirby scream.
Yeah, precisely.
And it's adorable.
It's good.
Kirby's one of the few characters I like to put in pain because it's so satisfying.
Oh my god. See, you put me in these situations sometimes where I have to try and do a fucking segue from whatever that was into my shit because you don't know what the topic of.
You did this to us. You did this to us, guys, and we're doing it straight back to you.
criminal.
Cream or worm tongue?
What?
Wormtongue. You want to punch Wormtongue in the face.
I want to punch
But he-
Creamer. Yeah.
But he killed Saruman.
Oh, it's a Lord of the Rings character. Cool.
He also eats a hobbit, which is quite funny.
He eats a hobbit.
Yeah. Well, it's heavily implied that he eats a hobbit. It's quite funny.
Wow, that's fun.
The Sackville Baggins. Yeah.
Tasty. What would hobbit taste like? Probably like human, but less. There'd be
You live
less
in New
food to
Zealand.
go
Find
around.
out for us. Actually, here's a question for Guy.
Yo.
Cannibalism is very specific to your own race, right?
Well, I mean, there's a...
Why good Guy? Wait, why Guy? How does Guy know this?
Because
why
he
is
was
Guy an
looking
expert
bored
on?
and I thought I'd drag him into
Why
the
is Guy an
conversation.
expert on cannibalism though? That's what I
Well,
want to
hey,
know.
there's a story in one of the season 10 Doctor Who episodes where the Doctor disappears and he comes back and one of his like alien assistants is talking to the locals and is like, well, there's a race that, you know, digest each other for to communicate. And he got through an entire crew of Garlonians before he realized that that's not a universal language. And then he died choking on a sofa cushion. It's like, what the fuck?
Good old Nardole. Such a...
So yes, I would say definitely depends on your species. And also spiders.
Yeah.
Well, not spiders,
Okay.
praying mantises.
It's all
Yeah,
spiders. All
but-
spiders
but-
are-
I know
what
they
I
do,
mean
but
is
praying
'cause-
mantis is the classic.
So a human eating a human's cannibalism, but if
yes.
a human were to eat another humanoid, such as an elf, a dwarf, or a hobbit,
Depends.
That's
Well,
where my-
the problem, we don't know how close their DNA is on the sense of like how close are they if they're technically a different species, because can they breed? Can an elf and a human breed?
yes.
Yes.
Well,
Then
Well, it depends on which
then they
fantasy universe you're consulting.
yeah, but
Exactly.
bear in mind, donkeys and horses can breed and make a mule, but that doesn't make them the same species.
yeah, but that's true. It
I
has to
think
make
half
a
elves are very
legitimate-
much a mule situation.
I've always wondered with like looking at Doctor Who things because they always just like put fucking normal people as the aliens, which is fine. That's just what they do. But they all like resemble humans. It's always I always have this question of like,
Humanoid.
are they ever going to just be like, hey, yeah, humans are every species in the galaxy, and that's why the Doctor likes hanging out with them because technically they're like the original race that figured out.
Yeah.
Like, homebrew theories. It's all good. I've just been
It's also
after the
just
Doctor
a
Who
theory
episode,
that-
I've literally gone season 1 of the modern series, and I'm now like midway through season 11. So thank you, Jude. I had to pay for Stan for fucking 3 months.
I like them to come up to it, and then they get to a hexanoidal species that's just a bunch of fucking hexagons.
That's the thing, is that
come
it's like
together
you've
and
either
just
got
float
like
through the
a
air.
dude with some teeth on his face or like spaghetti.
Fucking. Anyway, so Guy, what are you doing today?
Have you guys heard about the new Renaissance? It's coming. It's coming soon.
You know, the old Renaissance came after a long time of darkness and terror.
What the fuck do you think we're in right now, my man? Are you aware of
No, he's got a
how
point.
AI is going to revolutionize our world?
I don't like
Sometime
where
in
he's
the
going
near
with this.
future, we've got a fucking renaissance on our hand. In this world of peace and prosperity, technology is on the rise. We've got a moon base. It's called the Horizon Lunar Base, and we've got monkeys on the moon and the moon base. And also we've got a whole bunch of robots called Omnics.
Planet of the Apes. Planet of the Apes.
I don't think it's Planet of the Apes.
What do you think it is?
Okay, I'm trying to think of what it is.
I literally said a name of something that if you have any idea about the lore would have given it away immediately.
Is it?
There is a
it-
mass AI robotic workforce called Omnics.
Is it Fuck. It's no. It's the robot, the blue robot guy. And what's it?
No.
No, the blue robot guy. What's his name? And now I have to find out what his name
What
is.
the fuck are you talking
And
about?
it's like his enemy built him. He's an android.
It's not Mega Man, no.
It's not Mega Man. Okay.
No. So there's a workforce that the AI revolution and the current technological revolution that we've got going on is powered by a workforce called the Omnics. They've boosted the production of the world a shitload and are the main fuel behind most of the modern era. They essentially take away most of the workforce and allow people to just focus on being creative and doing cool stuff like that. Omnics are produced all over the world in almost every single capital city or major development area. There's a Omnic production facility called an Omnium. The corporation that built this entire thing is called the Omnica Corporation, and it's developed by Mina Liao. We'll get to that later. It basically doesn't mean anything. Mina Liao dies pretty quick. But around the year 2050, the Omnica Corporation does what all big companies do and do what they do fucking best and get caught for fraud because they are having mass failures. Company is cooking the books on productivity rises, and it causes massive amounts of issues which go back into the company and reveals a whole bunch of backlying corruption. And so they shut down most operations worldwide over a period of time.
So it's basically just your average company.
A normal big company.
So what's this from? Sorry,
We're getting to it.
We haven't got there yet. I still don't know the fuck. I thought he's just describing the history of Amazon.
No,
right
we're
getting. He's describing what's gonna happen. I think he's.
I want to wait until because one of you will tweak onto something in this because both of you should know what this is.
No, Guy has looked into the future. Looked at the company of Amazon. That's it. He's Guy has found a portal to the future, but he hasn't looked at anything else except how Amazon went. That's it.
That's it. That's all.
This is it.
Unusually, however, they were actually called out for the fraud and were shut down worldwide due to things like that. Unlike most corporations, which just sort of ignore it and can keep going. So there's a big blank spot for a bit of the plot that we've got here, but after somewhat time, the factories reactivate themselves and start going into overdrive, producing just shitloads of combat bots called Bastion robots.
Is this Bastion?
You've tweaked onto it. What is it?
Is this Bastion?
No,
game
it's not.
Bastion?
It's not Bastion. Bastion's not
Okay.
about this. Does
Okay,
Jude know what it is?
I don't know. I played Bastion, but it's a great game.
Okay, we'll keep going. 3 main issues here. Omniums are almost 100% self-sufficient, which is one of the reasons they were behind this entire renaissance. Bots are advanced enough to basically manage the entire life cycle. Omniums are also right in the middle of where humans are, so you can't really bomb them.
All I'm thinking of when you keep saying Omnium, I'm like, it's the Omnitrix? Is this Ben 10? Tennyson?
I was thinking the same.
Because Omni just means all, though, so it means like, you know.
Yeah.
I know.
Omniums
But I keep thinking of it. It just keeps going on mine. Ben 10?
they're in the main area.
Forearms. Bam.
So they were behind enemy lines before the lines were even fucking drawn. As well as that, being a connected AI robot system, they are extremely good at fighting, and they can hack a lot of the world's systems. They hijacked Titan Walkers, which are big mech things that walk around, which were designed by Torbjorn Lindholm, who we'll talk about later.
Oh, it's Overwatch.
Hey!
Okay. I don't know much about.
Okay,
I said
honest.
Bastion, the Bastion robots.
Oh.
Because there's the Bastion
okay.
playable character.
I've never played this game.
You play Hearthstone like 100% of the time. It's the same
Yeah.
company. You see it in the launcher.
Yeah, I see. I know what it is. My
I'll be honest.
flatmates play it all the time.
So have you not
I'll be
heard the
honest.
name Bastion?
I have heard the name Bastion, but Bastion is a thing outside.
Okay, yeah, fair
Overwatch,
enough.
Okay.
I'll
Hey,
be honest. I know nothing about the Overwatch lore. It's just that I heard the name Bastion and then I heard the name Torbjorn and I was like, oh, they are.
Yeah.
I
But I
thought
know
you
nothing
meant
about the
Bastion,
world,
like the game Bastion, which is
No.
way better than Overwatch.
There is a playable character in Overwatch called Bastion,
Go
which
play
is a
Bastion.
combat robot.
Go play the
Go
game
play Bastion. It's a good game.
Fucking great game.
I'll do it later, don't worry. So, this event was labeled as the Omnic Crisis and was basically quoted as one of the greatest threats since the Cold War, which seems kind of weird to me because the Cold War was like a passive threat more than an active
It
threat.
was a huge
I
threat,
will
by the
shoot
way.
you, Jude. He's copying my hand movements.
Jude is just going, like, Guy's making the hand moves like he doesn't know what he's doing because he always loves to do hand moves, and Jude's just fucking copying him at this point.
I
But-
just raised my hand to make another point. And
Yeah.
I'm going to pin him down.
But it's like, the Cold War it's basically mutual destruction of the entire world if someone made a wrong
If
step.
someone made a wrong move, the robots are fucking moving, my dude. So I don't know why they made that comparison. That's fine. Different countries had different responses, and I will go through a couple of them now, which I think are pretty good. Russia. Comrade. We must make a giant
Fuck's sake.
We must make a giant mecha robot and put people in them to fight more robot. Call them Svyatogor.
So when did Russia become Japan? I'd like to know in this universe. That's a Japanese move. In every,
Oh, Japanese,
every-
right, yes. Sorry.
they make big robots and fight things with them in everything.
An interesting thing here, Svyatogor is a Kievan Rus mythical Bogatyr, meaning knight or hero, from a epic East Slavic tale, which is called Ila Mormits and Svyatogor. He is a giant who was a friend of the hero and was later sealed into a coffin. His name is a derivation of the words sacred mountain, which I think is kind of cool.
That's actually a really. I was about to make a really like dumb comment, but that's actually really nice.
It's
little
really
note.
cool.
But this sounds like Pacific Rim. I guess Pacific Rim. Is this Pacific Rim?
That's what it is. Get
I
out
think
of
it's-
here.
I think it's Pacific Rim.
Next up, America. America. Hey, brother. You know, Cap.
They got Matthew Mercer to put on a cowboy hat.
You know,
Here we go.
no, actually they didn't. I'll get to that later.
Almost
Hey, brother.
summer, West Virginia.
Well, you know, I've been thinking. You know, Captain America.
we need 6 of them.
We need that shit in real life. God bless. Which led to a couple of guys called Soldier 76 and Reaper. We'll get to them later. Again, a lot of these are just brief responses. And Germany. Oh, fuck Germany. Ah, yes. We will make...
Fuck's sake.
we will make giant knights. Crusade time. We will have big shields made of... light? I don't know.
Wait, what?
They make a sacred order of knights who are in big sort of mech armor and have big light shields. I don't know why the fuck that's their
Germany?
response.
What are you doing?
I would think that, like, you know, guns would be a cool response, but that's fine. I guess
I
that
still think that is one of the coolest responses, though.
it's very cool. Problem with them all, though, none of them worked.
Yeah, no fucking shit.
Solution: knock knock. It's the United Nations.
Question.
Yes. Go.
How does a giant robot fight a lot of little robots all over the Russian world?
Ask the Russians.
What was Russia's plan there?
Well, also the other thing is that you've got to realize this is in every major city, so most countries are sort of just dealing with their own problems.
I get that.
Which is
What's
why
Luxembourg.
knock
What's
knock.
Luxembourg doing?
I don't fucking know.
What's Luxembourg getting up to?
Shut up. knock knock. It's the United Nations. The United Nations are here. In a completely out of character move, the United Nations actually steps in and decides to form a band of heroes, soldiers, engineers, and remarkable people who combined could combat the Omnics. These weren't actually necessarily people who were like big before it, like they weren't like war generals and stuff. They were just people who had shown promise in fighting Omnics because they're a robotic force, and so like a computer engineer who was a total fucko before the thing might suddenly become like a super great person to have on your side.
But hey, it's the United Nations, so let's wait at least 20 years.
I
for them to
know,
make a
it was-
decision on something and get something done. So we're gonna have to give them some time.
There's a lot
to
of
catch
stuff
up.
in the law which I've read where it's like this big corporation got caught for fraud and then shut down. I'm like, false.
Yeah,
the
got
United
fraud and then made more money.
the United Nations stepped in and actually did something. False.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, okay, you can't give no credit to the United Nations. They do.
No,
some
of course,
stuff.
of course. So the original gang that was formed was Jack Morrison and Gabriel Reyes, 2 American soldiers who had been enhanced from the Captain America program. We had Anna Amari, who was an elite sniper from Egypt. Torbjorn Lindholm, who was an engineer from Sweden, who built those big mechs from before. Not the Russian ones, the other ones. I don't know what the fuck the difference is. Mina Liao, who was the one who originally engineered the Omnics, she was super hesitant to join the team because she was like, oh, but I fucked up. And they're like, you designed them. Can you fucking please
Yeah,
for
yeah.
a minute?
You're like the one person that might be able to fucking fix it. Like, why? Like, wait, so it's not even. I thought I in my mind I had the company was doing this, but no, so the AI system in the company is doing it themselves.
The AI system, so the company shut down.
Okay.
It's one of these things as well, though, where the law is going on for a while, and they've announced Overwatch 2, which seems to be kind of a story game, so who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
So
Good update.
this is the 2020 version. There are more recent updates and some bits and pieces which are in here, which only came out
You
recently.
can't date this guy. God, you can't date this. Don't
Yeah,
date
shut
it.
up. Mina Liao, by the way, is the only unplayable person on this list, apart from the next one, because I do that as a technicality, because he technically didn't become part of the Overwatch gang, which is Baldric von Adler, who was one of the Crusader Knights from Germany. He fucking died before he could join the team, so he gave it to one of his friends, who is Baldric died at Eichenwald, which is a playable map in the game, defending the German front. But as he died, he gave his invite over to Reinhard Wilhelm, who is a playable character and is the big chunky knight that you play in the game. So we've got our team. Gabriel Reyes was the original team leader and was super awesome at his job. Overwatch became basically a cultural beacon because they started doing shit really well and organized as like a united front because it's a video game story and of course it fucking goes well because why wouldn't it? Overwatch becomes a cultural beacon as much as anything else because the heroes are giving the world hope, and often that's one of the most useful things you can do in a crisis. Overwatch conducted a number of raids which took out quote-unquote central command and control protocols, which I just assume is just a big computer or a
Big
server.
server.
Big
They
server.
Took out a server room.
They took out they fucking nuked the server room for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
Elite warriors. They just go into a computer room and just like
Stab
punch a PC.
just stab the fucking server racks.
I bet at least half of them were just like, okay, so we need to fight. Then the computer engineers are like, they're in the cloud, and they look to the skies, and I'm like, get your anti-air guns out, boys, because we got some clouds to fight.
I'm also
They
imagining
got like a Ghostbusters style,
trying to fight the cloud, trying to zoom in the clouds and absorb them.
But I'm also imagining like they sent the normal soldiers in and they're like, command's in there, go and get them. And they walked in and booted the door down. It was server access. It's like, there's no one in here. What are we supposed to do? It's like, we need the elite team. And they just come in with a bucket of water and just fucking...
They're like, I know what to do.
I'm an elite soldier from the American Enhancement Program and I've got a fucking bucket of water and I know where to throw it.
Or like someone just walks
Firefighters.
in with like one of those like Looney Tunes style big magnets and just goes.
No, not the magnet. Magneto would be so good in this world.
Oh my god.
Magneto would be good in every world. What do you want about?
That's a good point.
Oh shit. So after doing all of that,
Petition to get Magneto put into every single fictional world.
I mean, it's one of those fight things. It's like X versus X. It's like Magneto versus... Stop, he wins.
Yeah.
Fucking matter.
Yeah, we've established this.
After this, all of the Bastion units basically just fell over and fucking died, because that's what computers do, and weren't powered anymore, and the Omnics, which were remaining, bargained a peace treaty, because they are actually AI. So they have sentience, and once the command central evil server, quote unquote, died, they became like a sentient race of people, essentially, and yeah.
Interesting.
And they genuinely like bargain in the law about like the sides of the groups who are like, hey, kill all the fucking Omnics, versus people who are like, hey, they're sentient. It's always interesting to read these sorts of things to see what side each group would take. Like, oh my god, I forgot the name of the company. Blizzard. Blizzard's obviously saying here, like, hey, if AI is sentient enough to make its own decisions and act akin to a human, it should be respected as a race, which is a interesting topic to get into, which I'm not going to tackle today.
It's the whole point. The whole point is if something's sentient, and is it murder if you kill a sentient robot?
Mm-hmm.
So if I eat a robot, is that cannibalism?
Fuck off. You can't eat a robot. How are you gonna fucking do that?
A dude once ate a jumbo jet. I think I can eat a robot if I really try.
That is true. Someone did eat a jumbo
Oh my
jet.
fucking god.
But okay.
What a callback, shit. Basically, the rogue AI, once the servers were taken out, the rest of the Omnics were all fairly chill, bargained a peace treaty, and just sort of chilled out. So, post-war, despite all the good news, the war wasn't like a little thing. The world got pretty fucked up. In small news, there was a bit of a financial crisis. We'll always have to deal with some of those after the wars. Although, unless you're America, in which case, whatever. The Australian government decided to give Central Australia to the Omnics because it's all dust.
No one fucking cares.
No one
Take
lives.
it.
No one lives there, so you can just have it. And also because
You
they're
can have
Omnics,
it.
because they're robots, they don't really give a shit about the heat. So
It's basically desert with deadly animals. You
the
can
other
have it.
part of it as well, though, is that the Omnium for Australia was located in the middle of it. So because it was just a big factory area they could just set up and buy for cheap, so it just worked.
Yeah.
Which they gave it to. However, they did give a lot of the area to the Omnics, and there were some people who kind of got displaced by that. Obviously, they were a bit
like
fucked up.
three. Like
No,
three?
like a reasonable amount. Enough, in
Four.
fact, for a group called to a group of rebels to form called the Australian Liberation Front, which is a bit of an extremist movement, but I'm glad it's not being based in the Middle East for once. I'm a little bit pissed off that it is Australia, though, because...
If I'm honest, from what I've seen of many Australians in the last few months,
Especially
of lockdown,
outbackers,
there would
yeah.
100% be.
There'd be a
Especially
couple.
Especially the country people. Bit extreme sometimes.
Yeah. So they formed a group. So they formed a group of rebels called the Australian Liberation Front, which worked to basically kill the Omnics, which were on their land. They worked to destroy the Omnium, which culminated in the Omnium power core going into Overload, which just nuked the Outback, and basically nothing changed because it's already fucked. It's it's already dust, and you just made it more dust.
White people looking at people and going, "That's our land." Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. Blizzard's taking a controversial stand here.
So the white Australian farmers in the outback went, "Hey, they've invaded our land. We should kill them." They're going to be really shocked.
Oh yeah, God! Look at the history.
Incredible.
Wow, that's real weird. Does Blizzard even look into that? Is that on purpose? Did they even think about that?
It's incredible.
Blizzard.
In other news, Rio got bombed and just went through some economic turmoil. India got displaced massively during the war and also got bombed a bit. But there was what?
Wait. When you say India got displaced, you mean the country or like?
I mean major population capitals where the Omniums were.
Okay.
Every time I say
a country just got moved.
Every time I say a country, it's because they're generalizing when you look at the descriptions on the wiki, because that's about as far as I went.
Also, question: when you said there was a nuke in the middle of the Australia, is that like dead land now? Like completely dead?
Yeah, so it got fairly irradiated because what it was a power core going into overload, so kind of like a nuclear reactor, not necessarily like a nuke, but then again, it's not specific about what power type it used because I don't think anyone really gives a shit. It got bombed. It's more dust. It's the exact same as it was before, but with some radiation now.
Yeah.
India got
slightly less life.
India's major population areas, Matthew, got displaced through the war, but there was light at the end of the tunnel and at the start of the tunnel, and it was the tunnel because it's the Vishkar Corporation, and they love some light. They do hard light engineering, which allows things to be created from light. So using this, they were a bit up their own butts about this whole thing, because they then used the light to make a new, cool, modern, technological, advanced city, which is super cool. They did call it Utopia, which seems a little bit self-masturbatory, but that's okay. Listen,
they're like, this is going to be a fucking great
if
place.
you build an entire new capital city, I think you've got a right to wank a bit.
And if you call it Utopia, and it's not the best place ever.
Well, there's actually a couple of maps that are in Utopia, and it's actually pretty nice.
Yeah, I was going to say, Utopia's in the game, isn't it?
A lot of these places are in the game.
Yeah.
I'm not going to point out too many of them because I can't be bothered because there's a lot of them. In Mexico, the power grid was actually shut off, which caused a period of which the locals referred to as La Medianoche, which is the midnight, which is kind of fucking edgy. A lot of people were left homeless, including a future hacker called Olivia Cole Lamar, who later became known as Sombra, so playable character. I'm going to just sprinkle a couple of them in here. The good news was that Mexico had another company step in for them and replace the power grid, updating the country to clean energy while they were at it. So that's kind of sick. Although, I think I'm going to say this bit quiet because I mention it later. You might notice that there's a lot of companies stepping in and doing a whole bunch of rebuilding efforts leading towards them being bigger companies, which kind of was the problem in the first place. We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
Another person with the hard light engineering, sorry, I forgot about this. The group who did it was the Vishkar Corporation. One of the people who worked for them was a engineer, hard light engineer who was picked up at a young age and was like a fucking prodigy. She was, oh my god, I forgot her fucking name. Give me a sec. Her name was
Sam.
No, I'm checking my notes. Symmetra.
That was pretty close.
That's pretty good. I'll admit that's pretty impressive.
She's another playable character, right?
Yes, definitely. She creates little turrets and stuff out of hard light, funnily enough. Russia also did pretty well against the Omnics, with Siberian Omnium actually being shut down. A lot of Russians were still hit by the damage, and the country was slightly on hard times, kind of like a normal financial crisis, rather than the fuckedness of the rest of the world getting nuked.
So where's their big mechs now, huh?
Still around, actually, because there's a company who made them called Volskaya Industries. There's a pattern going on here.
It's been the mech's been busy fighting kaijus in the ocean.
Yes, very much so.
Leave it alone.
Kaijus that were created by all the nuclear fallout from these.
Exactly. Godzilla got woken up. He's been busy.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Another person who was brought up in the hard times in Russia was a girl called Alexander Zaryanova, who would later become the soldier and bodybuilder Zarya, who is another playable character. The company who rode the country back up was Volskaya Industries, which is a robotics company specializing in human assistance machines, such as mechs, and later they sort of become like a like more of a construction type thing, because obviously we don't have the Omnics anymore, so now we've got to do our own shit again. So the mechs kind of became useful in terms of like bridging that gap between traditional engineering and construction and modern day engineering with mechs, except no AI.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
So that's good.
How long were the? I know you might not have a time. How long were the robots kind of like in place, doing their thing?
My best guess would be akin to a sort of normal length war, so 5 to 10 years would be about right.
How long were they? Were they good before the war?
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
Oh, 2050, so 20 years? Who knows?
Yeah,
it can't be more than 30.
Because the question was like how often used to were the people to getting their stuff done for them.
Well, they were in a renaissance, so at this point they've been in there for a while. There's also major creations of these omniums in every single major capital city, so you can assume that they're fairly ingrained. Although, how long? Maybe the renaissance kind of came up and then immediately got fucking slapped down. Who knows?
That's a shit renaissance.
It's a pretty shit renaissance. However, we also might check in with, apart from all the sadness, where are they now? After the watch, Overwatch was far from abandoned.
We're already at the credits. Where are they now?
Yeah. Except we're at the credits of a war. Post the Golden Age of Industry and the war, this group brought about what was called the Golden Age of Heroes. Overwatch stopped being an elite military group and kind of became like an international task force. Like an international kind of FBI, like big terrorist things. Kind of like America.
So they're like the Avengers after they sign the Soviet
Correct.
Accords.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, I was about to say that actually.
So like they're a big superhero team controlled by the UN. Yeah.
Yeah. Roundabout. Overwatch took care of... so quote from the wiki, terrorists, rogue omnics, and dictators were no match for Overwatch. Overwatch also oversaw rebuilding efforts and rescue missions post-war in collapsed shell of the world. Like, buildings collapsing and stuff and the infrastructure all being fucked up. Overwatch flies in, digs them out. It's all good.
Interesting. They overthrow governments?
Rogue governments, dictators, which, again, raises the question of who decides what that is.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
If it's the UN, who knows? It's, again, one of these things where you're just supposed to smile and be like, oh, they're so good, I love them.
Yes. Take over the world, you...
Don't look too closely at it. Due to this, there were new members adopted, a bunch of different people, including one of them who comes up a lot, is the German medical officer, Angela Ziegler, who is known as Mercy. She's one of the main healer playable characters in the game. The effect of the group was so strong that those that were born in the time were known as the Overwatch generation. One of the children was a girl called Farah Amari, who's playable in the game, who was born as the child of Anna Amari, who's the sniper from the original team. Now, we get into the meat of post things, because there's a bit of fuckedness, there's a bit of goodness and rebuilding, but it's got to be more conflict, because that's how this shit goes, baby. While Gabriel Reyes had been the leader during the war, Jack Morrison was declared the leader of Overwatch during the rebuilding efforts. To quote one of the people who oversaw the group, while Reyes had led the team during the crisis, Morrison could do a better job of rebuilding it.
Are either of these two people from the game?
Yeah, definitely. You'll get to that later. This left the two kind of permanently at odds for obvious reasons. Gabriel Reyes is like the big shit. This is like being president of the United States, essentially, except you're also a celebrity and allowed to be a celebrity because you're also a superhero. It's like Captain America, Iron Man type things. Except,
what's this guy's powers?
These two are from the American Soldier Enhancement Program. So
they're basically...
both are Captain Americas.
They're Captain America. There's a comic where Captain America becomes the president of the United States.
There you go. But this left the two at odd. Gabriel obviously being displeased. In much more peaceful times, he's no longer the hero of the heroic god group, obviously. There's also a couple of things that happen. One of the missions that I said that they went on, Operation White Dome, was a simple peacekeeping mission in Turkey, which was led by Anna Amari. Torbjorn and Reinhardt came along as well. they were ambushed by a group of rogue Omnics, though, and Torbjorn was severely injured, losing his hand and his eye. Torbjorn was saved by Reinhardt, and the two grew a close friendship. In the game, Torbjorn has a fucking mech hand and a eye patch, so that's the backstory on that, which is kind of fun.
So, question.
Yes.
They're a general peacekeeping environment.
Yes.
Do they just fight the robots, or do they also fight people if they're terrorists, like people terrorists, or they only fight robot terrorists?
It doesn't say in the wiki because I don't think they want to get into the politics of that. I think if we just
Fair enough.
if we assume the
fact that
robots
it's saying they shut down rogue nations and stuff, you can assume.
But
But it
you've
could be
also
rogue
got
robot
but you've also
nation.
got to look at the fact that the robots are AI and are sentient enough that they have a peace
Exactly.
treaty signed with them. So indeed, the rogue dictators could just be robots, which makes it morally quote unquote similar, although not really, because
I just imagine for like game purpose, it's much easier to say, well, look, the heroes kill robots. This is,
Heroes
the
kill
heroes
robots.
killed people. Like, it's much easier to do that.
we'll get to that.
What?
So during White Dome, Reinhardt saves Torbjorn after he gets super fucked up, and actually, Torbjorn is so thankful to Reinhardt that he makes her his daughter. He is now. Hang on, how does this work? Reinhardt becomes the godfather of his daughter.
Yeah.
So, part of that, he also decided that he wanted Reinhardt to choose the name of his daughter, which is cute. And she got called Brigitte, who is another playable character again. So yeah, random stuff going on peacekeeping. However, also, Blackwatch. In the peaceful time following the war, Overwatch branched out into a couple of different military efforts, but also became involved in science, innovation, and some other research fields. Despite this, they are still a military group, and formed a group to do some more covert operations. Blackwatch was headed by Gabriel Reyes, the original leader of the team, who was a bit pissed off at Jack Morrison, and formed the Covert Ops Division. What the fuck, Matthew? What are you? Is there a fly?
I'm sorry. There's not a fly. Sorry. For the last few minutes, I've been watching. There's a wasp in my room.
Can you get it out?
I don't know how it got here.
Have you got a spray can?
Not in my room.
Go get it then.
This is all going in the podcast, by the way. This audio.
Okay,
I
I'm
love
gonna
it.
catch him.
Don't catch him. Just kill him.
Get it.
He's above my bed. What?
Get him. You've got
Get
a
him.
hockey stick, the tennis racket there.
Get the cricket bat. Don't slap
Don't
it.
clap it.
It's
You're
gonna
gonna get the
sting you.
stinger in your hand.
I'm trying it. My mic's there, and they're gonna barely be able to hear me.
We can. Oh no, because we can't hear you because the headset microphone, right?
Yep.
Okay.
It's above me. Okay, I'll just ignore it. I'll just ignore him. I can live in peaceful harmony with him.
I doubt that. Are you allergic?
No, I'm not.
Okay, good.
Maybe I'll just open the window so he can go out
So
whenever
he can let his
wants to.
buddies in.
Yeah. you just hear a bzzz.
Okay, if I disappear and you just hear a buzzing noise, that's
The wasp has killed him.
That's me getting carried away by hundreds of wasps, and a wasp will replace me on the podcast. Don't worry. I have the same amount of insight, to be honest, and slightly less annoying.
Oh
probably.
man, and there's these mechs.
Oh,
So
Good
what you
boy.
take-
Good
so
boy.
what
Yeah,
you-
nice,
what-
nice.
So why don't you take us away, Wasp you?
We will be releasing a special episode on National Bee Day where it's just buzzing, just for a fucking hour and a half.
No, it's just Matt, and all my voice is just buzzing. As they replace it with buzzing.
That'll be good.
Sorry for interrupting that. Sorry for that.
No, it's good because it does get into a little bit of fucking weeds during this bit.
Okay.
Blackwatch. This is actually one of the interesting bits. They created the Covert Ops Division, which they called Blackwatch, and it was headed by Gabriel Reyes, who was the one who led Overwatch during the war.
Yeah.
Some groups rose for Overwatch to fight, and this was partially what Blackwatch was responsible for. One of them was the Deadlock Gang, which was an American group of outlaws, cowboys. I don't know what the fuck Overwatch is trying to pull here. Bethesda keeps pulling this shit where they're just like, oh yeah, and there's a bunch of rebels in the middle of Australia, and it's like, and no one cares? Or do they
You mean
care?
Blizzard?
And there's like, oh yeah, also there's this group of cowboys called the Deadlock Gang, and they rob trains, and it's like, and no one's. Where's the police?
Yeah.
Like,
imagine Imagine robbing a train in the inner city in Melbourne.
It's like, what the fuck? What are you doing? Like, I understand.
Yeah, they'd probably be on time, to be honest. They'd probably be slightly on time than the normal Metlink trains.
Anyway, group of outlaws cowboys headed by 4 legendary gunslingers. 2 of them were Elizabeth Caledonia Calamity, who is known as Ash, and Jesse McCree. Jesse McCree is voiced by Matthew Mercer, who does the Critical Role podcast, which Jude's a big fan of.
Notice the blanket I'm wearing.
Yeah, I know. He's wearing a Critical Role blanket. It's good.
Yeah. Look at him snug under that little blanket there.
Oh yeah.
Just for all the people who can't see him, just imagine a snug little
Little bug.
English boy under a big blanket.
It's very good. Their actions led them to becoming quite well known with some daring heists and robberies. McCree was part. There's a fucking plane going past my house.
Have you also got a wasp in your?
No, there's a plane. Big wasp.
Big wasp.
McCree was part of an illegal hardware and weapons deal, which Gabriel Reyes and Blackwatch did a sting on and caught them in the act. However, McCree was given a decision: go to jail or join Blackwatch, because he's basically a super soldier. So let's make use of him. And also, it's a covert ops division, so they don't have to tell anyone about it.
What did he do? What did he do wrong?
It was a hardware and weapons deal gone wrong, where that Blackwatch did a sting and fucking got him.
And they're like, work with us, or you're gonna get in this hole.
Pretty much. It's also the covert ops division, so who the fuck knows?
Mm-hmm.
He was given a decision: go join Overwatch or go to jail. Obviously, he chose the former, and Reyes mentored him. This was actually a pattern as well, because another member of Blackwatch was Genji Shimada from the Shimada clan. Genji came from a long line of traditional Japanese gangsters, but over time, sort of, didn't like the life of crime because he's a good boy. This culminated in a showdown between him and his brother, Hanzo Shimada, where Hanzo was convinced he killed Genji under the orders of the board of the crime family. Hanzo was super ashamed and left, but secretly Genji survived and became a fucking cyborg and then joined over Blackwatch.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there a reason why he's got like a robot?
Yeah, because he got fucked up during the fight real bad.
Okay.
So that's cool. Another, a lot of the lore is sort of character-centric, so if it seems sort of disconnected, it kind of is.
No. He was a cyborg, and then they're like, fuck, we got to explain how he's a fucking cyborg, don't we? He got injured.
He was a Japanese gangster who got fucked up by his brother. Also, Again, this is another thing. His brother Hanzo uses a fucking bow and arrow as, like, a gangster. I get, like, it's, like, technically enhanced. Why the fuck don't you just use a gun, my dude? You're a Japanese gangster. You can just use a fucking gun.
Hey, if you're a superhero, you have to have a gimmick. We've
Fuck
sorted
off.
this out in Avengers. Hawkeye had the whole thing. We're fighting an army of robots, and I have a bow and arrow. None of this makes sense.
Genji also uses, like, ninja stars, which are not weapons. They're like a secondary or third weapon.
Wait, this guy just has a bow and arrow, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Is he fucking just Hawkeye when he goes to Japan?
Yeah, pretty much.
When he gets edgy?
Yeah.
Get edgy and goes to kill Japanese gangsters?
Well, yeah, but when Hawkeye was in his edgy phase, he was more using a big ass sword rather than the bow.
That's
if you
true.
remember.
The other thing about
because he was multi-classing into
the other thing about Hanzo is he can also fire dragons out of his bow occasionally, which
What? Wait.
Yeah, it's his ultimate, dude.
What do you mean? Is it ultimate? What does that even mean?
So at Overwatch, just a quick overview. Because I didn't actually do it at the start because I was doing.
What is Overwatch?
Overwatch is a.
Someone explain this.
Shut up. Overwatch is a first-person shooter developed by Bethesda. Bethesda. Blizzard Entertainment, who are the same
Yeah, you
guys.
said Bethesda before, and I was like,
it'd be a lot more buggy if it was.
They both have bees. They're both bees.
It just works.
It just works.
Love you, Todd Howard. Please come on the show. God, I would love to listen to you talk about.
Imagine we got Todd Howard. We have to be a lot bigger than we are right now.
I would roast him. I would absolutely kill the man.
I'd praise him.
Fuck you. People deserve criticism. He needs to update his shit and stop trying to drag people for their money. Anyway.
It just works.
It just works. Blizzard Entertainment created Overwatch as a team-based class shooter. So there's a couple of games that are in this brand. I've done Team Fortress 2 earlier. It's the same type of idea where instead of playing like a generic thing that you attach guns to, every character has a set of abilities and like ultimates, which sort of make them completely distinct. Some of them have massive amounts of health and like slow attacks, or some of them are very mobile but low health. Some of them have like healing abilities, like all that sort of stuff. There's like how many? There's like, oh god,
awesome. 45 minutes in, we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, finally.
I finally thought out what we're talking about.
I have a 2-page long thing of all the characters. So there are a lot of heroes. So which is why I'm not going over them individually. Also, some of them are really fucking like randomly connected. So I couldn't be bothered. Anyway, going back up to Blackwatch.
Can I also say, how does he shoot dragons out of his bow?
Because he's a longtime member of the Japanese crime family, and their symbols are dragons. I don't fucking know.
Is that like a thing in this universe? Can just gangsters shoot dragons?
I think I have a suspicion that there's a touch of magic in this world. Not necessarily. No. Not in traditional sense. More in like excusing weird technology. But they don't really try to explain it. He just sort of does it.
Okay, so it's just like this it's never explained, but I'm gonna, for my own insanity, I'm gonna assume he has a really technical bow that has lights in it that makes a dragon and somehow does more
It can go through walls, so that doesn't really work, but that's okay.
Fuck off!
Well, hard light engineering, maybe? No, that doesn't work. Whatever. Anyway.
Light doesn't go through walls.
Who gives a shit? Anyway, the Horizon incident. Another person who was
Quantum tunneling, I don't fucking
Another
know.
person who was on the Overwatch team was Winston the Gorilla. So earlier on, I mentioned that moon lab on the moon. Remember the moon lab?
Yes. Kind of.
I called it.
Yes.
I mentioned a lot of stuff before it. Anyway, there's a moon base
called. It's been a long 50 minutes.
It's called the Horizon Lunar Institute. They were doing a bunch of experiments on growing plants and other stuff, and one of the experiments that they were doing were on genetically enhanced gorillas, with part of the aim to see what the effects were and if the effects of long-term space stays and all that sort of stuff. Unfortunately, shit went wrong, because it just do. Is the wasp gonna get you? Please.
He just came close.
Go wasp.
No.
Go wasp. Go
Stop
wasp.
supporting the wasp. He just keeps coming closer and then moving away, then coming closer and then moving away. You know?
Unfortunately, some of the gorillas reacted badly to the gene therapy which they were undergoing and became aggressive, and some of them just became outright violent. Some staff got injuries, and they got what we would usually call warning signs, until eventually the gorillas started a guerrilla uprising, which started with them tricking the scientists to go into the airlock to look for a problem, because why the fuck would you not put the entire science crew into an airlock? The way it's described, it's like the gorillas found a problem in the airlock, and then the entire science team went into the airlock to check it, and they just fucking ejected them. And it's like, what the fuck? The gorillas have been hurting you, and they're like, oh, we found something in the airlock. And you're like, yeah, cool, I'll go check it out. Come with me, entire science team, who are manning a lunar base, so therefore have to be like, 20 people? Just like, ooh.
Nah, that's their story. They totally beat up those, chucked them in the airlock, and with their own bare hands. And
I have no idea.
Own gorilla hands,
yes,
and
true.
put them in the airlock, and then chucked them.
We'll get to the bear later. It's okay.
What?
That's not a joke.
Is there a bear?
I'll get to it. It's interesting. It's funny.
There's a hamster, I think.
Speaking of the hamster, we'll get to him in like 2 seconds. Give me a sec. The gorilla gang was now in control, and they decided, hey, we like living at this base. We're going to stay here. So they just continued on with the lunar base without any humans. And as far as we know, they're just chilling. Which is kind of funny, because they are intelligent gorillas, which we find out from Winston, who is the only gorilla that didn't become violent. He decides that he doesn't like the rest of the gorillas, builds himself a rocket, and fucking blasts off back to Earth.
Is it cannibalism? And if you eat a
you fucker,
gorilla?
You motherfucker. Winston blasted off in the rocket, and another person who joined along with him was Hammond, who was a hamster who was also receiving gen therapy, so he big brain as well. He made himself like a little ball and just like attached it to Winston's rocket, so he's like looking over the shoulder of Winston during the test. It's kind of cheating, but that's fine. The good bit about it though is that Hammond, the fucking cheater, his escape pod detaches early, and he gets fucking dropped into the middle of irradiated Australia. So good on him, you fucking idiot.
Is he in like a ball?
He is in a ball. Winston goes to somewhere and ends up getting picked up by the Overwatch squad. I think it's because there was something to do with the fact that Horizon had joined with Overwatch. It's really non-specific. But Winston, big brain, he can do science now. Hammond ends up in Australia and actually ends up becoming a member of a brawl club, which we'll get to later. Because
How big is this hamster?
Hamster size.
What?
He makes himself a mech. Shut up.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, you can't argue with that. Anything in the solution is like, I feel like in any list in this universe, they're like, we have a problem, we need to do it. What's the number one? Mech. fuck. That's the number one. Anything they
there
go.
are mechs in the game. I didn't think about that.
There are mechs. There are a couple of them. I'll get
Just
to
a
some
lot
of them.
yeah.
There's been like 5 so far. Different mechs by different places, but different people.
It's a little bit thorough with the mechs, but that's okay. Talon. So, as Overwatch was the major superpower that they were, and they were challenging, terrorist organizations around the world and becoming this massive force for peace, with every time that, a restriction agency scales up their operations, the criminals usually are gonna do the same, because that's just how criminal do. Talon was a terrorist organization, which really fucking threw me, which was formed to make the world a stronger place through chaos, something akin to the Omnic Crisis creating the, Age of Heroes, but done with intent, which fucking floors me, because none of the people who are involved in this organization are doing it because they want the world to be stronger. They quote this line, but no one in the group seems to actually believe it, apart from some of the insane people who, what?
Like some sort of anarchy, survival of the fittest kind of thing.
Precisely. That's exactly what they're trying to tote. But the people who are in the organization are like, mad scientists and like war gun runners. And it's like, okay, so you're not doing it to make the world stronger. You're doing it to sell guns, dude. I appreciate it's like Apple saying, does more cost less. Like, bullshit. Shut up. You're doing this for your own profit.
It's like the NRA in America says they're doing it for the safety of America.
Precisely. Like, it's that sort of stuff where
they're doing it to sell guns.
You can tote a line, but if you have a clear financial motivation to do this shit, then you're doing it for the financial motivation. You don't need the line. I don't need to be convinced. I'm going to buy the next iPhone.
I'm going to buy the gun. Just give me the gun. I don't need the spiel.
Did someone say Stark Industries?
True, precisely. It's like, you're just doing... Anyway, we'll get into that later.
You could power the entire world and you don't, you bastard.
Talon is the terrorist organization. Overwatch battled Talon a number of times on multiple battlegrounds, with most operations being headed by a man called Gerard Lacroix. Talon eventually decides to turn their sights on him, obviously, because he's a motherfucker, and kidnapped his wife, called Amelia Lacroix, brainwashed her, used her to murder Gerard in his sleep.
He kidnapped
They kidnapped his wife,
brainwashed her, and got him to kill her.
And got her to kill him. Yes.
That's a bit rough.
Yeah, there's sometimes in the thing where it's like, haha, gorilla on moon make scientists go brrr. Like, but there's other times where it's like, yeah, they fucking kidnapped his wife, brainwashed her, and made her fucking murder him. It's like,
fuck.
Okay.
That's a messed up
Is
shit.
the brainwashed wife a character?
The brainwashed wife is later known as Widowmaker.
Because
she makes herself a widow.
Yeah. Oh, that's kind of depressing.
It's kind of depressing.
Is that the spider-like demon kind of girl?
The blue-skinned one. I don't know where the blue skin came from. It didn't really say in any of the things that I researched, so I just didn't really bother with it. I assume it's part of the brainwashing process.
I've seen some Overwatch characters because
how could you not?
Be on the internet and not have seen some.
Another noteworthy Talon member was Akinjide Adeyemi. Akinjide Adeyemi, who was known as Doomfist. He was a gun runner and war profiteer who had a big fucking gauntlet which let him punch real good. There's also no description on why the gauntlet makes him punch good. I've literally tried to look it up, and it's like, it has upgrades. Like, what the fuck does that mean? Because... I'll get to something
cool.
but I'll get to something later, because Doomfist isn't... There's Doomfists are like passed down title. The gauntlet is passed down through different people. It's like a passing title. The original Doomfist was like a war runner. This current one is called the Scourge of Numbani and is a big gun runner. And the next one is another person. But the weirdest thing to me is there's an example of the third Doomfist literally just punching his way through solid steel. So the gauntlet's not all this shit is. I have multiple issues with the lore as I googled it, but that's fine. We'll fucking I'll deal with that later.
That guy was either a fucking tank or the story's been a little bit exaggerated.
Anyway, whilst conducting raids on Numbani, he recruited a boy called Akinde Ogundimu, who, spoiler alert, is the next Doomfist I was just talking about. Talon.
It's one thing we're just amazing at pronouncing things. If that's one thing,
Akinde Ogundimu, yeah.
That's not bad. For my take of that, mine would be, I'd be like, the worst. I can't even try and pronounce words.
I have pronunciation guides written next to them because, spoiler alert, I stole all this off a YouTube video and the guy pronounced them, so if he pronounced them wrong, I pronounce them wrong. Spoiler alert, he becomes the next Doomfist. Talon saw a lot of promise in Ogundimu, and eventually he was in position to become the next leader of Talon. The last step on this was apparently killing his mentor because they had a fight over something because he was going to be more powerful in the organization than him, so whatever. So he fucking knocks Doomfist and then takes the Doomfist gauntlet, which he becomes the Doomfist. Yeah. And now he's the leader of the Talons. That's fun.
Fun.
About 8 years before current in-game...
So, okay, so Doomfist in-game is the leader of the Talon.
Is the leader of Talon, and he has that big gauntlet which he nicked off his original mentor. Yeah.
What's Talon again?
Talon's the major terrorist organization who wants to make the world stronger through conflict, who is basically like the main rival of Overwatch.
Where are they set? Are they set in them?
Non-specific. Again, it's an international organization because they all fucking are, because they don't want to pin it on a country because that makes it look bad. Because a lot
Except
of
Australia. Except for Australia.
Yeah, that's a good point. But then again, they've got a reasonable argument. It's just they do some dumb shit. Anyway,
fuck off.
About 8.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you're right. But fuck off.
I think Doomfist, because I haven't touched Overwatch in since end of high school sort of time. So I think Doomfist was
last
the
week?
last new character.
Doomfist was the newest playable character when we stopped playing it.
Yeah.
So
cool.
he got added in just after us. There's a couple more that have added since then, but obviously they have. It's been like 2 years. About 8 years before current in-game Overwatch, Talon becomes more outright aggressive to Overwatch, attacking Overwatch bases around the world. This is previous to Lacroix being killed. I don't know when that happens, because they just didn't fucking say. Anyway, during a Blackwatch meeting, Lacroix was informing the team about operations in Greece when the facility that they were at, Overwatch, was bombed. So, Blackwatch. This is the covert group again. Many people were injured or killed, and distraught, some Blackwatch agents requested an unofficial operation to go to Venice and capture Bartolomei, who is the guy who Lacroix revealed was in charge of that raid and presumably the bombing. This mission had to be unofficial because Bartolomei was actually a really well-connected guy and had a front as a legitimate businessman, which again raises the question of who the fuck decides who is the evil people. I guess because he's connected to Talon, but... Anyway. Together, Reyes...
It's like an FBI, CIA kind of interesting thing.
For sure.
International kind of thing.
So they were going out to go capture him. So Reyes, who is Gabriel Reyes, leader of Blackwatch, Genji, McCree, the two who I mentioned before, and Moira, who is another Blackwatch operative, a DNA scientist who fucking seriously rode the line of what could be called morality. She does.
Isn't she like a sorcerer?
Kinda. She does weird DNA science, which looks kind of like magic. Ooh. But technically, she's a scientist because they all fucking are.
Yeah.
They infiltrated Bartolomei's base and all went off without a hitch. Everything was totally fine. And they just went back, and with Bartolomei, it was all fine. Just kidding! I tricked you. They infiltrated Bartolomei's base, and when they were about to capture him, fucking Reyes pulls out a gun and shoots him.
Wait, they killed the bad guy.
They killed the bad guy in the middle of the base when their instructions were to capture him.
What's the problem here?
Because their instructions were to capture him, and also because it's Overwatch, they're not just allowed to go and murder people without good reasons. And also,
Captain America.
As I said, Matt, he has a front as a legitimate businessman and is a well-connected guy. So putting him on trial, finding out information, and publicly doing that before doing something like that is better than just being hey, legitimate businessman.
Yeah, imagine if the FBI or CIA just killed people.
I know, again, Blizzard seems to have some weird perceptions of the world, but that's fine.
I know, right?
So they shot him, and in the scene, he gets fucking blasted out of a window in the middle of his secure compound, which is cool.
Fuck yeah. It's like that meme where the guy gets thrown out the window.
Yeah. So obviously it becomes a massive shooting match, and they have to blast their way out of the facility, and massive side effects followed. I've titled the next part Side Effects.
Ooh.
First, Talon was spurred on, of course.
Medicine.
They elected new members to their board, and including the third officially swearing in the term Doomfist, and a Omnic called Maximilian, because Omnics are just like people, and there are murderous ones.
So the Overwatch are just what happened to the other Doomfist? Oh, I killed him. Oh, cool. Okay, we'll just swear you in here.
No. The Talon swore him onto the board.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No. Yeah. So Talon pulled him up onto the board because Talon was like, obviously, you just killed one of our core members. We're
Survival
going
of the fittest.
to arm up against you.
They're survival of the fittest.
Again, with that, it was a disaster for Overwatch because Blackwatch was revealed to the public. They were a covert ops division, and some of the stuff they did was a touch unsavory. And many of Overwatch's good deeds were called into question because, again, it's the whole thing that Blizzard seems to have where they think that if a company is shown to do bad things, then consequences come of it. I don't know where the fuck they got that idea, but whatever. It eventually...
Just move to a tax haven.
Yeah, of course. Easy. Eventually, this
Done.
would snowball into the fall of Overwatch later, with removal or dismantling of a lot of Overwatch facilities, again, similar to the Omnia Corporation. During this time, there were a number of threats that kind of came up in the world, because obviously Overwatch is out of thing, such as Null Sector, which is a group of Omnics fighting for Omnic rights, quote unquote, but secretly they just want to kill all the humans.
Oh, that's bad. That's a bit,
yeah, not great because
sad.
it's like a terrorist organization version of like the war thing that the Omnics were originally doing. Especially now that they're not connected to the massive hive mind thing, it's not like I have an excuse of like, oh, it's just an AI fighting for its own survival. It's like you're a conscious person and you're now fighting to kill people.
Robots will do dumb things because humans do dumb things.
Yeah, but it's saying like, oh, that's fine because we've got Nazis. It's like that doesn't mean that Nazis are okay though. They still, yeah. So that's that.
Hey, let the robots have their Nazis, okay?
Part of this was the King's Row Uprising, which a young time-disassociated soldier helped fight, called Tracer. Tracer was a test pilot for Overwatch, but when testing a plane that could teleport, supposedly, she fucking vanished. Presumed dead. Yeah, a couple of months later, though, she reappeared, but was kind of detached from normal time. And sort of flickered in and out of existence, which they called chronal disassociation, which is just bullshit.
What?
With help from Winston the gorilla, however, she was given a chronal accelerator, which allowed her to not only just exist in standard time, but also harness her abilities and her detachment from the time stream to sort of do some cool shit, like rewind time and jump forward and stuff, which is sick. Also, her ultimate is just a bomb. It's just a grenade, which I fucking love.
Don't fuck with time, man.
No, but it's so funny because what it's sort of saying is it's like if you're on normal ground, she's on ice, so she can kind of like slide around a little bit more than everyone else.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so it's a cool idea. But her ultimate is literally just a bomb that she sticks to people because she can teleport around. So she teleports to you, sticks it on, and then teleports away again, which I love because they're like, time person will make her have like time jumps and a rewind ability, and her ultimate is a sticky grenade. Who gives a shit?
It's one of those stickers. It's like the one from Halo.
I'm just picturing a fucking doctor rocking up in a TARDIS and just yeet.
I mean, surprisingly often in Doctor Who, the solution is bomb. Anyway.
Hey, he doesn't use guns.
Anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, he just uses fucking nukes and
yeah, exactly.
And also missiles during one episode. He just makes a whole bunch of them target Filch and just sends him off into fucking space.
But he's a really good guy because he doesn't use
so
guns.
Good. And
he makes his own weapon. Yeah,
so good.
Fuck. It's been a really good rewatch. In King's Row Uprising, however, Overwatch officially was forbidden from taking any action because they were in the middle of the PR fiasco that was the whole thing going down. And they were like, hey, we know you want to help. Just fucking chill for a minute. We've got people who can do stuff. Regardless of that, they still sent off, McCree, Reinhardt, Tracer, Torbjorn, and Mercy to all just fucking help out because they could. Overwatch continues their under-the-bench operations with Mercy, Winston, Tracer, and Genji being dispatched to intercept Maximilian, who is one of the Talon board members who I mentioned before, the Omnic. They intercept him and force information out of him. Doomfist is going to be in Singapore in a couple of weeks. With that information, they go and confront him and decide to try and take him down because he's now their main enemy.
Let's get Doomfist.
Doomfist during the fight fucking breaks Tracer's timepiece, and because Winston and Tracer became good friends while Winston was fixing her time thing, my hand movements mean nothing.
I was like, what does this mean?
But because they became real good friends, when Tracer gets hurt, Winston goes into a fucking gorilla rage, which is kind of funny because what they're suggesting there is that the gene therapy did make him real angry. He just has a Hulk type of like, that's my secret. I'm always angry.
You wouldn't want to see me when I'm angry.
It's legitimately the Hulk. It's the funniest thing because he's a scientist the rest of the time, and then he turns into a massive angry creature when he has like reasons to.
He's basically just Beast from the X-Men.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Winston goes into an ape rage, captures Doomfist, and locks him into a Helix prison cell, which is basically like a high-core, high-level prison. However, during all this time, Overwatch is kind of dying. Blackwatch is accused of corruption, torture, extortion, kidnapping, and murder. Obviously, they fucking killed someone. There are also accusations of unsavory activity happening within the organization, such as gun running, because they just have international reach and a whole bunch of support, and of course they fucking do. Many of the odd and questionable backgrounds of career agents as well, like McCree being a fucking, local terrorist and, like, criminal, and, like, Genji being part of the mafia, started being like, hey, that's not cool.
It's a bit weird.
As such, the tensions around Overwatch sort of were a disaster waiting to happen, and the public protests around the world made world governments sort of move to disband Overwatch, or at least stop them operating in their countries. But despite that, Overwatch just ended up imploding anyway, because of something that happens in a little bit.
They're like, everyone's shutting down. No one's gonna end me. I'll end myself.
During this time, there's a couple of different revolutions as well going on, because in Brazil, the Vishkar Corporation moved in to build after the crisis, but of course, being big company, not long after, they started using locals for hard labor and exploiting them. A local fucking DJ, Lucio, was strongly against the treatment of his people, stood up against the corporation, and incited rebellion by chasing them out using technology against them that they made in the form of sonic weapons, so he could just fucking DJ while he's shooting out the corporations, which is so fucking sick.
He rebelled by playing some sick fucking beats.
Basically, that's his thing. Again, another playable character. He's very good. Back to the...
Why is everyone running away from my fucking sick beats?
He literally does the hand movement in the game, like where he's doing like the DJ thing. It's so fucking good. Because he's got like a pistol, but it's like a megaphone pistol that like shoots people. It's good. It's really good. Going back to the Overwatch implosion, the Overwatch HQ in Switzerland was at some point destroyed by what was labelled as an accident, but was actually a really big battle between two groups. On one side was Jack Morrison, and on the other side was Gabriel Reyes. For, whatever reason, I can't really point at any specific things, Reyes had grown a bit bitter, just, Blackwatch and the fact that he was displaced as the leader of one of the biggest groups in the world, and, the fact that Blackwatch was imploding and being shown to be a massively corrupt organization. I don't know why he was annoyed.
No idea.
And then he wanted to overthrow Jack for Overwatch's resources, but Jack obviously didn't want that. And so a battle followed with, whatever groups were on either side, and then a massive explosion took out the facility and caused a whole bunch of injury and damage. The explosion stood as a pretty hard fucking line for where Overwatch was sort of done, because the main base is gone, and most of the people are presumed dead, including Reyes and Morrison, both presumed dead in the explosion.
Rip.
Yeah. So with all that happened and the backlash they were facing, the UN officially just dissolved Overwatch, and having served its purpose, and just died.
The UN's still around.
Yeah.
Reyes may be yet to reap his reward.
Yeah. So that's
joke.
It just
Me
clicked.
Joke soaring over my head, just fucking like miles above. Can barely hear the plane. Just woo.
We'll get to it. So the UN disabled it, and they also did declared the Petrus Act, which is a really funny thing because it's basically a law that just says don't Overwatch, which seems a little bit mean towards Overwatch, because like, what if another group just formed and it's like, we're not Overwatch, we're watching over, and it's like
we're Underwatch.
As many of the, but it was for fair reason, because like many of the Overwatch people were known for going rogue. Even during their shutdown, they were still like helping out at the King's Row uprising and a bunch of other shit. So it was pretty obvious that people were going to do what they were going to do because they'd gotten a taste of the limelight. They were going to keep doing it.
It's literally the Sokovia Accords.
It's literally like Avengers, where they're just doing their own shit.
Accords.
Yeah, precisely. It's a fairly carbon copy. I think it's pretty funny.
They just signed that. They said you can't do things.
However,
no.
Overwatch out of the way, the floodgates were open for criminals to come back onto the seat, criminal crime boys. Null Sector and Talon had kept up with Overwatch, and now Overwatch was gone. They were basically just gonna fuck around. Also along that, tensions between humans and Omnic grew stronger, and corporations that had gained like strength from rebuilding had become hulks of corporations and just exploited people. Because of course it did. One of the events with the Omnics and humans was the assassination of an Omnic faith leader and civil rights leader called Takatha Mandata. He was a member of an order of Omnics called the Shambali, which was formed after the Omnic crisis, which sought equality between humans and Omnics. Many appreciated and accepted Shambali's teaching. Takatha was a big faith leader. They kind of like robot monks. It was sort of this peace and, faith in the machine type thing.
Fuck yeah, I want to love fucking robot monks.
Unfortunately, Takatha was assassinated by Widowmaker, who now worked for Talon.
For fuck's sake.
So Talon's doing some shit, obviously. Everyone's just stirring up shit. Another thing... Yes.
Question. How do the robots... probably doesn't even answer this, but if you're a robot, right?
Yes.
If you kill a robot, could you just repair it?
It's one of the questions of what a Omnics storage thing looks like, and whether they have any cloud storage, because one of the points of the war was that the cloud got turned off because the cloud was evil, so now presumably they all have local storage, which means that presumably that local storage is somewhere, which means, yes, you can super murder them.
I guess. Interesting.
If you shoot a computer, can you put the computer back together? Sometimes, maybe, but if you're a good enough shot and you are trained to kill these things, probably not.
But they're like
in the same way that if you shoot a person, can you put them back together?
Well, but also another one of those things where if I was to shoot a computer in the most, non-retrievable way possible, I would know where to shoot it. I'd shoot straight down the hard drive thing at the front, because that's the data gone off it. Yeah, you could rebuild the thing, but you can put a body together and fucking stab electricity into it. Your person isn't back.
True, but like you can with computers, you can duplicate the hard drive into another computer, and then you have the two of the exact same computer.
Yes.
Could you do that with the people? Could you make two of the same person?
It's not specific about that, but it's also a question, again, of how advanced is the AI and how hard is that to copy? Because you can't copy a brain currently, so,
That's true.
Again, it's a question of how they were created. Another thing is Mina Liao's dead at this point. I think I wrote it in here somewhere, but Mina Liao gets fucking killed, so...
Sure, they died.
So the original creator of the Omnics is fucking gone. Who knows how the Omnics work, etc., etc.
Okay, yeah, sorry. No, I just thought that was interesting. how do they work?
No, for sure.
You know what this is reminding me
Yes.
of? For those of you that have seen the Simon Pegg Nick Frost World's End.
Yeah.
The end of
blanks.
that when they've
They're
got all the blanks. Yeah.
I was literally going to bring that up later, but I didn't think
it's
you guys
like
have seen it.
Of
course I've seen it. Nick
where
Frost,
it's
are you
like
kidding me?
Simon Pegg.
And Nick Frost. I love that round man.
You guys are totally Simon Pegg and Nick Frost in like that. Like Jude is Simon Pegg and Ty is Nick Frost. So totally.
I'll
take that. I'll love that. It's so fucking.
You're Martin Freeman in World's End, Matt.
No, that means I die like straight away. Like I'm the first to go. No, I'm the other friend that lasts till the end. The other guy.
Oh, the long boy. What's his name?
The one that goes out with the other friend's sister.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't it Steve?
Yeah, it's Steve.
Yeah. No, because like at the end of that one, it's like, oh, apocalypse completed. The aliens are gone. We've got a whole bunch of robots here who are just kind of there.
Yeah. And they're like blank, and they're not part of the hive mind anymore. It's the same kind of thing.
They're just kind of
And they're like, no blanks allowed in here, and that's very much remind me of that.
The name of the guy is Paddy Considine, and his character name is Stephen Prince.
Stephen Prince. There we go.
Okay.
I was like, this Paddy Considine.
No, that's good. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I do totally agree. But like this monk character is reminding me of some sort of like Martin Luther King or Dalai Lama.
It's exactly what it's meant to replicate, for sure.
Martin Luther King? Okay, cool.
Another fun thing, you know how Russia kind of just turned their Omnium off and didn't really, suffer that badly? Yeah, they didn't fucking blow it up, so it just turned itself back on, and now they're having another Omnic crisis, which is cool.
What? Why didn't they... What? Why
I know,
didn't they kill it?
It's sort of weird. They're just sort of like, oh, in Russia, the Omnium reactivated. It's like, you've had a bit. Did you not think to, disassemble it?
You have a giant fucking mech. Just get to fucking slice it up a little bit.
Just fucking bang it up, or gut the place and put houses in there
with
for
the
your
giants.
You've got displaced population. I'm getting angry about this now. I hadn't even thought about this. You've got displaced population. You gut that place. You've got a fucking set of apartments, my dude. Get it in there.
No, gut the place with the giant fucking sword your fucking mech has. Just fucking get in there. Don't wait till the fucking last act to bring out the sword because, like, in the fucking Pacific Rim. Oh.
And
I
another
had a sword the whole time.
another fun thing, which is kind of fun, a fun mention. No one in the international community really wants to help Russia because the last international group, because the last international group that was formed to help internationally against Omnic crises didn't go great.
No.
Yeah, that's
So
a good
considering
point.
the fact that there has now been extensive, lobbying against it and that sort of stuff, people are hesitant to kind of extend that olive branch again.
Come on, you got this, Russia. You can deal with them.
Yeah, it's good.
They don't have the water, like you said. You know how you're saying dump buckets of water on the.
They got no water. It's all
They
it's
got
all
no
frozen.
water.
It's Russia.
It's all frozen, but they'll get the buckets of vodka and just dump buckets of vodka on the computer.
No, you can put Russia on computers, can't you? What Russia? You can put Russia on
You can
computers.
put Russia on computers.
You can put vodka.
Oh no, Russia's in my computer. No.
Wait, is
My computer starts speaking Russian. No.
vodka conductive? Vodka is made using potatoes, which do conduct electricity. It probably conducts electricity very well.
It's also got a lot of water in it. Surely they have water in them.
But then, wait, what? Oh my god.
Surely it does conduct electricity. This is science class. Welcome to the science podcast. Does vodka conduct
It
electricity?
seems that the
It's the
effect
question we
that
want.
that gives water its ability to conduct electricity, it dissociates into ions, also happens to ethanol in a similar fashion. So they're similarly conductive. So vodka would work, yes.
We did it. Okay,
We
vodka
did it,
is
boys.
conductive, kids. You cannot
Because if you liquid cool your computer, you can use non-conductive liquids to like sit around the computer parts because it's fine.
Yeah.
Because unless you're conducting electricity, then like you don't have an
Don't-
ish. But
what we learned today is don't cool your computer.
don't
with
cool
vodka.
do a submerged computer in vodka. It doesn't work.
Vodka. No, not vodka.
However, while the world was falling back into chaos again, there's a really good line that they use here, and I don't know if it's from a video or something. I think it is because it's ticking a bit like bell in my head. While the age of heroes was over, heroes never die. So
Well, we've actually seen that they die a lot.
they do
actually.
die a lot, yeah.
They die a lot. Like half of them have died so far.
Heroes
at
never
least.
die is one of the big quotes of the series, and it's like, you sure?
You're fucking sure? I've seen them die like 6 times. Like they die constantly, from what I've seen.
Yeah. So I've titled this bit all lowercase. Whoa, what? They're back? Question mark, question mark, question mark.
It's not heroes never die. Heroes never totally go away. Seems like a better quote.
Sometimes. So
No one's
It's like
ever
that,
really gone.
It's like that rat. Fuck off, dude. It's like that rash you get. It's like a
I
rash
thought you were
get.
about to say
never
it's like that rat. I'm like, what fucking rat are you talking
it's like
about,
that
man?
rash you get. It's never truly gone. It dies, but it always comes back.
Matt,
You talk
what
about it
rash
like an
did you
old
get
friend.
from New Zealand? What?
What's going on in New Zealand?
Who gave you
firstly-
a rash?
I have eczema. I have like eczema.
Yeah,
that's a different
okay.
story.
Um,
Anyway,
A masked vigilante began foiling crime in, I think it's Brazil. I'm not sure. There's a thing where it's in Brazil, but it might be somewhere else. It's non-specific. And was stealing tech from old Overwatch facilities. He was a soldier with some amazing reaction speeds and some cool accuracy.
I'm getting real TF2 side. When you said he's a soldier, I'm like, it's a real TF2 fucking flashbacks right here.
Yeah, kind of. So he had amazing reaction speeds, and he was stealing like some face masks and glasses from like Overwatch facilities and like cool guns and stuff. Do you have a guess, Jude, about who the fuck it is?
76?
It's Soldier 76, who is Jack Morrison.
In 2020, it's bad if you steal face marks. That hasn't aged well.
Yeah,
don't
true.
steal face marks. Don't do that. You need them. Don't do that.
Oh god.
Wait, this guy's the guy who was in the Captain America program, was he?
Jack Morrison, yes, the
Yeah.
the leader
Yes.
of Overwatch during the rebuilding efforts.
Oh, he's back.
He's back,
He's back, and time
and
for
he is
more.
now known as Soldier 76 because he wears a big like leather baseball jacket with the 76 on the back of it, which is
Oh, does it?
Nice.
cool. Well, if
I
you
did
look in
not
the
realize
game, he's
that.
wearing 76 on his back. So yes.
Huh.
As well as him, there's
That's a
another
cool
guy who's
name.
making havoc because Gabriel Reyes also survived. However,
One thing
Boy-
now you said 76. I'm thinking Fallout 76. It just works.
it just works.
It just-
Bethesda did a good job with both the games.
Bethesda and Blizzard both use 76 as their thing that just works. It just works.
As well as him, there's another man creating havoc. Gabriel Reyes has lived through. But this is where I kind of point at, like, I think that they don't really give a shit about verifying any of their science, so I just assume there's a little bit of magic in there, because somehow during the battle or since then, he's been put into a simultaneous state of constant death, cell death, and regeneration, which means that he can dissipate into fucking mist and teleport.
Well, we've already had like time teleportation, so this isn't that different. And fucking dragons
Yeah,
coming out of
but
bow and arrows.
But their thing for it is that his cells are constantly dying and regenerating. And in my mind, I'm like, does that not just mean that he's gonna stay like all of our cells are constantly dying and regenerating? That's what the fuck we do. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
it's
it's
like
accelerated.
people.
Okay, so I'm just shedding skin really fast.
That's yeah, it's kind of like that. Kind of reminds me of like Deadpool because his cells like constantly cancer, but also has a healing factor.
Yes. My suspicion with this
But
is
Deadpool can't
actually,
teleport.
you make a really good point, because Deadpool has a very similar thing, which we'll get to in a minute. Yeah. So that's
He
fun.
regenerates limbs.
He also renamed himself Reaper, which is super edgy, and that's what Jude was making the joke about before when he said that Gabriel Reyes is going to reap his revenge.
Okay,
That's
so
the
this
joke
dude
that
is
went over your head.
basically like he can reduce all his cells and then teleport.
Yeah.
That kind of makes no sense.
He's also
but
got...
sure.
I know, that's what I was just saying. He's also got like a big skull
ask?
mask. Yes?
How far can he teleport?
I have a strong feeling. Bear in mind, even as much as I did play Overwatch, I knew nothing about the lore until now.
Yeah.
But I am curious. Do you reckon that the game developers made all these characters with weird powers and stuff, and then gave it to the writing team, like, here, make it work?
100%.
That's a
I
lot of...
really love the idea
Like,
of
okay.
them starting to make all the characters, and then they're like, "Oh, we're sending you another character. Oh, cool. What has he got? A DJ? What the fuck?"
By the way,
How are we
Jude,
gonna-
by the way, Jude, about 125 minutes of my recording, you might need to turn that down a little bit because I got a bit close to my mic.
Oh, that's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, no, I 100%. Some of them they probably went, oh, they're cool backstory, and they made this character. But 100% they made cool characters.
There's a lot of...
primarily, and then went, okay, we got to make this work.
There's a lot of characters later on that feel like they're a lot more story-based than character-based, because some of them get less cool abilities, but are like more like story integrated. So, yeah.
This guy is a bow and arrow, and he shoots a dragon out of it. I don't know.
I feel like there might have been a bit of synergy, but I do love sometimes how video games excuse their mechanics. The quintessential one, which we'll talk about at some point in the future, is D&D's spell slots. If you ever get a chance, I'll talk about it in one of the future episodes, but it's super funny how they like excuse that and like explain it in world. It's basically a god decided that wizards were getting too powerful and so decided to limit it. So that's why you have a set of like numbers on your sheet which tell you how many spells you can cast every day. It's like,
But I
really?
do love talking about it in world. In world, you got to like talk about it. Like you can't say, oh, I have 3 spell slots. Like you got to be like, my power's a bit drained, but I think I could get one more powerful spell out before the end of the day. You know, you got to like talk about it like that.
I can do one concentrated burst versus I can do 3 little ones. Like, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's fine. Talon has also been getting kind of ballsy. And in one of the early
Ballsy?
ballsy. They've been getting, because Overwatch down. We're gonna do some shit.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Who's gonna fucking
Who's
tell them
stopping
what?
them?
Precisely. So they've been getting super ballsy, and in one of the early promo videos for the game, we see a Talon raid on an Overwatch base.
Fuck yeah.
It's not necessarily Talon, it's just a bunch of people in black jackets. They might have chosen that it was Talon later, who knows. The aim was to steal a list of deactivated Overwatch agents, and then from there, probably just fucking murder them. And Reaper was leading this mission.
Oh,
yeah,
so he's
Reaper.
leading Talon now.
He's in Talon, yes.
He's not the leader.
He's
We know
since joined.
Thunderfist is the leader.
Thunderfist, Doomfist,
Thunderfist.
Thunderthighs.
The shocker
Thunderthighs.
from Spider-Man.
His gauntlet has a fucking gun in it. It's really weird.
Hmm.
Anyway, during the raid, however, they were fought off by Winston the gorilla, who'd been living at the base since the shutdown. He literally just drops a banana peel in front of them, which I feel is a bit ape racist, but that's okay.
Yeah, a little.
During the raid, Reaper put a computer virus into Winston's system, but Athena, which is kind of like Winston's version of Jarvis from Iron Man, the like AI
yeah.
computer assistant, quarantined it.
Wait, they're still using AIs after what happened? Like, you think people
Yeah.
would be like learning from this shit?
Yeah, I mean, there's AI regardless because they've got Omnics that are around. So
Stop using AIs, guys.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well,
Think that-
yeah, it's one of the things of questioning what it is. Because there are actually examples of Mina Liao, who's the original designer of the Omnics, creating an AI, which we'll get to later. So during the quarantine, the virus, but during it, she had to reset some parts of the system. And when starting back up, Athena actually offered a option to start a recall for Overwatch agents back into the field, despite the fact that it's illegal. And there's like this really cool moment of like Winston being like, yeah, I'm going to press the button, and called all the Overwatch agents back to fight terrorists again. But it's illegal. So, but like you can vigilante, but like... Anyway, that's the start of modern Overwatch.
Yeah, I'm imagining that they're like in front of a big screen. They're like, "Would you like to press it, sir?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Press the button, sending out the system, and then like a call goes out on the screen. It goes,
It's
"Calling
literally.
all agents."
Here's the thing.
Calling all agents.
Here's the thing.
They're
It's
coming
literally
in.
like he presses the button, and then a picture of the globe pops up, and there's like a whole bunch of like little markers on it with little faces and stuff like that. It's like, come the fuck on. Are you kidding me? So the AI system then recalls a whole bunch of Overwatch agents to duty, which assumably means that they're going like rogue as a group, which is just Overwatch again, which is still illegal.
Yeah, fuck the UN. Who's
Fuck
gonna
the
tell
UN.
you?
Oh no, they're
Who's
gonna.
gonna
Oh no,
stop you?
the UN's gonna form an international group to combat us.
Oh no!
Yeah, which again raises the question: why the fuck did they go into hiding in the first place? I guess that they were like being split up a bit, but like at
I
the
guess
same
if
time,
every
he
coun-
pressed a button and everyone was like, "Yeah, cool, we're back."
If every country's military are kind of like, no, you don't, you can't exist.
Yeah.
If you go anywhere, you're gonna be kind of like.
Yeah, I'm
arrested.
picturing, especially as they've got all these ridiculous powers and stuff. It's straight up just the first Avengers movie moment when Cap, Hawkeye, and Black Widow walk onto the Quinjet, and that one SHIELD agent's like, "Oh, you're not supposed to leave," and he's like, "Nope, son, just don't."
Just don't, son. Just don't.
So yeah, Winston re-established communication with a number of people, including Tracer, who immediately picks up a phone call and goes, "Are we back, Tracer? Are we back, Winston?" And it's really cute. Yeah.
This does kind of remind me of Infinity War, when all like the people who are illegal coming in, and the government's like, "Hey, you can't do that. It's against the Avengers are significant," and he just turns off the thing. He just like turns it off.
I'll make sure I arrest them.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking of. Okay, I was trying to think of what I thought of when he pressed the button. I was thinking of, you know, the call. You know when Bruce Banner's got the call, he gets the flip phone out. He's like, "I gotta make this call to Cap." Like he's gonna call Cap. It's like that's what I was thinking when he pressed the button. He's calling Captain America to pull him in.
It's
Yeah.
very good.
Yes.
So after this, they reform into a group. They thwarted an attempt by Reaper and Widowmaker to steal the Doomfist gauntlet from an Overwatch museum, because Doomfist is still in jail, if you remember.
I forgot he got put in jail.
He got put in jail by that rogue Overwatch crew as they were being shut down, so he's still in jail.
Oh yeah. Wait, why the fist? Why would you put the fist in a museum? Though?
I don't fucking know.
What the fuck are they doing?
But Tracer and Winston...
Have they watched any movies? Museums are the number one place that gets robbed.
It's so bad.
Anything.
And also, if you like watch the video, the entire Overwatch like museum is just a big glass like place, and it's like, all right, I'm gonna punch through that window, get the gauntlet, and then walk out again. Like, what the fuck are you gonna do? I can fly. Like, it's really bad. Anyway,
but all this technology, they didn't put any brains.
Luckily,
into security.
luckily the illegal theft got stopped by the illegal, security team, because
Thank God.
they didn't have enough security around literal fucking like super weapons.
Hey, I prefer the term "the terrorist got stopped by the vigilante." Thank you very much.
That's the one I was thinking of. Along with that, during a skirmish in Egypt, Reaper and Soldier 76 come face to face and revealed who they were to each other. 76 was about to be killed, but also Anna Amari, who's the sniper, comes back and sniped Reaper, saving Jack's life.
That's the Egyptian person, wasn't
That's
it?
the Egyptian sniper, yes.
Yeah.
Anna had also faked her death when she was shot in the eye by Widowmaker, leaving her with an eye patch, which is also in the game. During
Everyone seems to have an injury. In this game.
everyone's faking their fucking death. It's a hot thing right now. During the fight,
Is there a reason why she has, just a question that I know from the game, her whole thing is she has the sniper rifle that like shoots darts and it damages enemies and heals friendlies. Is there a reason for that, or is it just
the presumed thing is that she's just a good sniper, and during the Overwatch campaign, they just decided that she could have a cool gun prototype which could also heal people. So
yeah, fair enough.
whereas Widowmaker's just like I could really do with a glass of water. My God.
I'll pass it to you through Zoom. Wait.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll take it. Yeah.
whoa! That was really well done. How did the glass get turned to a metal jug?
Oh
What
my
the fuck
God.
happened?
I'm just drinking fucking warm milk. Oh.
Hey, dude, why'd you pass some warm milk?
This isn't fucking hydrating my throat. It's just lubricating it. Anyway,
Yeah, milk's really bad for throat.
Yeah, really-
but that's okay.
I'm gonna quickly jump and grab a thing of water because I'm gonna talk a little more. Sorry,
Okay.
guys.
Okay.
I'll be back in like 2 seconds.
What? You're gonna
Contain yourself.
talk more in a podcast? So, Jude, how you doing?
Whoa. Yeah, I'm excellent. I'm
this
gonna
has
make a little timestamp.
This has been. Oh, we're not gonna keep talking. Okay.
No, we are. I'm just gonna take a timestamp
Okay. Well,
so I know where the break
this
is.
has been fucking wild so far. I'm like this half mad. There's like a cut of magic, but it might just be high tech security. And there's been like companies rising and falling, and there's been a moon base which got an AI get taken over. Okay, I'm gonna give a summary as best as possible, and then we'll go. Okay, so the world's in the future. There's a renaissance, and then robots are used a bunch, and there's an AI in charge of it all. But the AI went rogue, and then the AI went rogue, and so humans were like, "Fuck, that's bad." And so each country was like, "We have our own solution to this," and it didn't work. So the UN was like, "We need a good solution." So I put all the companies together and made a big thing called Overwatch, and they stopped the war in like 5 to 10 years, and they won the war, and then
And they won the war by spilling a bucket of water on the
Just a big bucket of water on the
They
servers.
put just a big bucket of water on the servers. But they didn't
Yeah.
destroy the servers. We'll come back to that later. And then a bunch of people get murdered. There was like a nuclear explosion in the middle of Australia. And and the robots are now fine now. Like they're cool. They were in a hive mind getting controlled.
Mhm.
And then there's a bunch of stuff with companies and people getting murdered, and then eventually Overwatch had their own like secret organization like CIA, and it got revealed and it got shut down because they did bad stuff about killing terrorists in the open, which they can't do because that's bad. And then they should kill people in the secret, not in the open. And then they got shut down, and the terrorists came back, and they're like, "Whoa, that's bad." And then so Overwatch are like, "We're gonna fuck them. We're gonna be vigilantes now." And they came back to kill them. Oh, and the AI came back at one point and then got shut down again.
Yeah, perfect.
think.
Well, no, the AI didn't actually get shut down again.
It's still alive.
Russia's still a bit
Russia's
fucked. Yeah,
struggling.
What's it doing? What's Russia doing? What's happening in
They're
Russia?
just doing their own thing. They're fine.
Fucking love Russia.
They're so good. Anyway, where was that? Anyway, Reaper and Soldier 76 and then Anna Amari saved Jack during this bit because during the vigilante phase. Soldier 76 also hasn't reassociated with Overwatch because he was like, "I'll let them play heroes if they want to, but like I'm not gonna do it, so that's fine."
Wait, what? That's a great voice.
Thank you.
I'll let them play heroes.
Yeah,
They're not
pretty
real
much.
heroes like me.
You
Captain
should hear his
America.
voice in like it's that, but robotic, like a little bit, because he wears a cool mask to disguise his identity, despite the fact that he already faked his own death. So who fucking cares? Anna had also faked her death. Anna also, during the fight between her and Reaper, removed Reaper's mask and saw the face underneath and got real spooked because presumably he looks like Deadpool, like you said.
Yeah, he's fucking ugly.
The quote from Anna.
But
What
fuck ugly.
quote from Anna? What happened to you? Reaper replies, "He did this to me, Anna. They left me to become this thing." It's like, cool. You tried to fucking usurp like a global peacekeeping operation, but that's cool. Whatever. You can be edgy about it. He also wears a skull mask over the thing, which is like you're not helping the sitch. Like
From your perspective, they're a peacekeeping operation, but
yeah, true.
they could have just been.
Yeah, of course. So Reaper managed to escape, but Jack and Anna united to kind of chase him. Mercy was also doing
Nice.
medical work in Egypt, and also came across Jack and Anna. And yeah, so Soldier 76, the quote directly is, "Let Winston play hero, I'll do what needs to be done." Which, yeah, whatever.
Sounds fucking ominous.
Yeah, you could just like pair up with Overwatch and just go do your own shit on your free time. Like, it's not like Overwatch has to be full-time. Like, you don't have to be a full-time
It
vigilante.
sounds like he's doing like he does the dirty work.
It sounds like he's become
Overwatch-
Blackwatch, yeah.
Yeah, like Overwatch won't do what needs to be done, so I'll fucking kill him because he needs to fucking die.
Yeah, we've got one page of stuff left and then a quick summary of some heroes and then we're done. So Doomfist
Sad.
breaks out of his cell at some point. That's all
Well,
we
his fists were as powerful, could break through steel.
listen.
I don't fucking,
This is the
yeah.
bit because listen, all we see in the video, they also Overwatch has a whole bunch of videos done in an anime style, which is terrifying. But yeah, so in the video, he just punches his way out of like the maximum security cell because he can, which doesn't make a lot of sense because he's been locked up for a bit. So why the fuck didn't he just do it earlier? Anyway,
I mean, if Andy Dufresne can escape prison, and so can this dude.
Yeah, for sure. Talent assistant.
Do you know who Andy Dufresne is?
I have no fucking idea, but I assume he escaped prison at some point. Just from context, I'm just kind of picking it up from context clues.
Shawshank Redemption.
I've never watched it.
What?
Yeah, I
okay,
know.
sorry.
I don't.
Jude, have you watched it?
Hey!
Yeah, it's like one of the best movies of all time. Okay,
I'm aware of it. I just
It
I'm
can't
gonna
be in the top 3. So
I'm gonna set you guys homework for watch Shawshank Redemption.
you're gonna
Not
tell
fictional,
you're gonna do
but it's fucking.
Shawshank
There's
Redemption
no lore
lore.
on it. There's no lore in it. It's just it's just like in our world. There's no lore.
I
on it.
already
It's just
know
like
the
a
twist. He puts up a poster and digs out. It's
Stop spoiling
is
it.
that movie?
Now we have
Yeah, it's that
we have to
movie.
put out
I
spoilers
know that-
for
I know
Shawshank
that.
Redemption.
That's gonna be such a good spoiler warning. Spoilers for Overwatch and also near the end Shawshank Redemption.
Shawshank Redemption.
That's incredible.
That's a great movie though. Fuck, it's. Anyway, sorry.
No, that's all right. It's all good. We've only got a little bit left, and we've got we're doing research.
So this guy, this Thunderfist guy does Shawshank
Thunderfist
Redemption.
breaks out. Talon assisted the breakout by disabling the security system, and after he escapes, he meets up with Maximilian again because they didn't fucking kill him, despite the fact that Overwatch has gone renegade. Why the fuck wouldn't you just cap him? Seriously.
What's Maximilian's power?
Maximilian's just a criminal or like Omnic. He just it's like a mafia nowadays. Like what's the superpower a mafia has? It's like that they're evil and they're just willing to do shit.
Yeah, but
like,
this is the world where people actually have superpowers.
Is
Like,
Maximilian in Overwatch?
no. Not currently, but the roster currently adds constantly add people, so I can't say no. Maximilian's an Omnic. Maybe he has gun hands, or maybe he's really rich. Who the fuck cares? Who knows?
I mean, his millions in this fucking name, so maybe.
Yeah, he does look super rich. He always wears like suits and shit. It's really cute.
Fuck yeah.
After he escapes, Max assures Ogundimu that he is loyal to him, but that other people. So Maximilian assures Ogundimu that he's still loyal to him, but that other people in Talon are moving against him. So Doomfist just fucking murders them. Classic.
Nice. Good on you, Doomfist.
He basically begins a rampage of the high-level officials in Talon that oppose him and just takes control of it. And then he takes his head seat at the table and says he wants to start a war. So that's a cool way to break out of prison, I guess.
It reminds me of two things. Okay. No, the main thing it reminds me of is, oh fuck, I had it in my mind now. It's gone. He's like the Black Panther. He's just fucking shown in Black Panther. He's just shown up and gone, let's fucking war.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's taken part of the country and taken part of the organization and be like, I'm back, boys. Let's fucking go to war.
Sometime after this as well, he goes to Numbani to get his gauntlet, and gets it. He fucking destroys some robots, which are OR-15 robots. I'll get to it in like 2 seconds.
Who's gonna stop him? He has fucking Thunderfist.
And he just took the gauntlet and then kept doing Talon shit. So that's what it is. So, current day. The second Omnic crisis is in full swing in Russia. Talon is going at full throttle. Null Sector's still being a terrorist organization, because that's how they do. Doomfist is intent on getting revenge on Overwatch, because now they're vigilante and back up again, and is directing all of Talon's efforts at his goal. That's the war that he was talking about, is on Overwatch, not like generically.
Is there still the people in the middle of Australia being angry?
I'll talk about them in a minute. They're sort
still
of
there.
Again, there's a lot of isolated stories in the Overwatch lore, and I could only cover so many. We're
No,
nearly at the
fair
2-hour mark, and I brushed over a lot of shit.
No, fair enough. I was just thinking, are they still there?
No, I'll mention them in a minute, because I'm going to go through the full character list and do like really brief summaries of a lot of them, and like if there's one that I haven't mentioned before, I'll do like a more sort of cohesive, like 2-sentence summary of them. Yes. Sometime after this, he goes to Numbani to get his thing. He destroys some OR-15 robots and then joins in. Null Sector is launching coordinated attacks on various cities around the world. But thanks to Winston's recall, Overwatch agents around the globe are coming to pick up the fight and get on in there, buddy. Get on in and fight them. That's where we pick up on the fight, on the game. It's the final stand for the world's heroes. So yeah, that's where we're at. And another thing with Overwatch, you can have like mixed teams. It's a video game, just accept it.
So in the team they're fighting, you have Overwatch fighting Talon.
Talon, yes. And Null Sector.
And Null Sector, and that's the other terrorist
Yes,
organization.
there are also a couple of people who are sort of rogue agents who are like other people. I'll get to them.
Yeah.
The OR-15 robots who I mentioned in Numbani, one of them is like a customized version who is a playable character. Because...
like mercenaries kind of thing?
No. So R15 robots are like security droids.
Yeah, but like the people who come in, like the people, they're kind of like mercenaries. They can fight on either
Yeah,
side.
essentially they become mercenaries, and in the game they're just sort of fighting each other for like nondescript locations.
Is that Orisa?
Yes. I'll get to her in a sec. So that's that. As a final thing, I'm just gonna do a quick scan through the current roster of heroes and give 5 words or less. I've done five words for each of them.
Gotta be good words.
Okay, this is alphabetical order. Anna. Sniper, but not bullets. Because
What does she shoot?
she shoots darts. That's Anna Amari, the one that Jude mentioned.
Sure. Okay, keep going.
There's Ash, who is the outlaw I mentioned. Yeehaw, but longer. Because she has a rifle instead of a pistol.
Nice.
Baptiste. The grenades heal you, trust me. He's an
Sure.
ex-talent agent who turned into a healer for some reason.
Fuck yeah.
Bastion. He's an Omnic Bastion unit who reactivated himself after the war, had his AI wiped, and was taken in by Torbjorn the Lindholm, the engineer, because he was nice and he has a bird.
I want my bird.
Yeah.
Bridget, did someone say rocket flail? It's Torbjorn's daughter, who was...
If you remember, Torbjorn gave his daughter to
Reinhardt
to name.
She
and
eventually became a squire of Reinhardt and then engineered her own defense thing. So she was sort of more interested in... Because Torbjorn's whole thing is he makes turrets. And what are you fucking doing that face for? It's just distracting me.
I'm just confused.
What are you confused about? Ask questions.
What's a rocket flail?
So, she's intrigued about the defensive side of things, so she engineers herself a set of armor like Reinhardt, but she also creates herself a custom weapon, which is a flail, but she has a rocket attached to the back of it, so she can do really hard swings. That's her weapon in the game. It's really good.
So she swings it and just fucking rocket powers around.
Yep, pretty much.
Okay, fair enough.
She became one of the Knights of the German Order, but not really, because they don't exist anymore, but yeah, regardless. Diva,
Nice.
please stop nerfing me, please. Diva is a Korean gamer who was recruited into the defense program as a mech pilot because, as you mentioned, the Japanese and Asian cultures are much more likely to do mech things. Korea actually developed a mech defense system and recruited a whole bunch of gamers to become their pilots. Diva,
There's so many mechs. Fuck
there's
me.
so many mechs. They just it's the way of the future. Mechanization.
Russia is best mech though. They just made one big one.
There's Doomfist. Big man has big fist. Echo. I said here, why that face though, bro? Because I was looking at all of the like character portraits as I was writing these. Echo is an AI which was developed by Mina Liao, who later died. But because Mina Liao spent so much time around this AI assistant, she sort of adopted a whole bunch of stuff, including a human-esque face. Fucking Google what Echo looks like. It's fine at like a passing glimpse, but like if you actually look at the face, it's like, oh my god, it's like the Doctor Who episode where they're in the library.
Oh yeah,
and the faces are like pasted onto the thing.
Oh god.
Yeah, are you looking at it?
Yeah, look. Oh, I hate that.
Yeah, I said, why that face, bro? What the fuck?
It's a little uncanny.
It's a little uncomfortable.
This one is new to me.
It's in that uncanny valley, kind of like,
Yeah.
like the more you look at, like, if you like went past it, it'd be like, oh, that's fine. But the more you look at that forehead and the way it's shaped and the eyes, it's just a bit uncomfortable. It's like an uncomfortable alien kind of baby face thing. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like how big the forehead is.
So yeah, it's weird. Anyway, so why face that? I've then got a couple of quickfire ones. Genji, weeb.
Cool.
Hanzo, weeb. Junkrat, why does Australian have bomb? I'll get to it in a minute. There's another character.
Wait, what?
There's another character who I'll get to, and I'll pair them because I can do that explanation at one time.
Oh, what happened to the hamster, by the way?
I'll get to that as well. They're all part of a trio.
Okay.
McCree, yeehaw but pistol. Lucio, haha, frog go wub wub.
Sure.
May.
He's the DJ, dude.
Yeah, he's
nice. Love it.
May. Fuck this fucking ice wall. May was a researcher at a polar facility. This is really depressing, by the way. May is a researcher at a polar facility that got frozen during an ice storm. She wasn't frozen. She went into cryogenic stasis during the ice storm because the outpost was going to get frozen and fucked up. So they just all went into cryo so that they wouldn't have to eat a whole bunch of food. They all went into stasis, her and 5 of her crewmates. She was the only one who survived, and she got unfrozen, got out, realized they were all dead, mourned, and then immediately got the signal from Overwatch to come back. And she was like, cool, I've got ice weapons now.
Oh, that's a little bit of a rip.
Yeah, it was fucking.
I thought you were gonna say when she was Ice Wall. I thought she discovered the world's flat. And she discovered the ice wall. As well.
No, unfortunately not. She has like ice weapons and stuff.
So she's Fallout 4.
What?
The start of Fallout 4.
A cryo. Yes, exactly that.
Yeah. Everyone else is dead. And you're like,
I also feel like this is one of the things where they've given a character abilities, and the writers have just been like, "Cool, okay." She's a researcher at a polar facility who gives a shit.
Oh no, she's here.
Mercy, shut up, I'll heal you. She's the German healer. Moira, does DNA really do that? Because she's the one who, like, everyone thinks she's a witch because she's got, like, fucking, like, beams of shit that she shoots at people, but apparently it's just DNA science. What the fuck? Orisa, now that's a chunky robot. Orisa was developed by a kid after Doomfist's attack in Numbani. She bought a whole bunch of spare parts, gave it a personality, and became sort of the local superhero, like Spider-Man, except it's a big four-legged robot.
Fuck yeah! It's like the spider robot in Into the Spider-Verse.
Spider's bot.
Yes, Spider's bot. Farah, where these rockets coming from? She's Anna's daughter, Anna Amari, the Egyptian sniper. She's the daughter of, and she has cool rocket wings and shoots rockets and is a rocket person because rockets. Reaper, edgy. Skull Mask, Reinhardt, old man can't stop moving because Reinhardt has a charge ability. He just fucking train wrecks people. It's so good. The first person you hit, you pin, which means that they slide along with you. And if you whack him against a wall, it does a shitload of damage. It's very good. Old man can't stop running. Roadhog.
He's one of the original Overwatch team out that we were talking about earlier on. Like the big shield, the German dudes with the big shield and stuff. That's this guy.
Okay. Roadhog, how's he that fucking thick? Roadhog is so Roadhog and Junkrat come from Junkertown. Junkertown is the Australian outback thing, essentially made from scrap when the Omnium blew up. They made like a little outback outpost town. And a lot of that turned into sort of like a rebel society of like, we're going to have a brawl arena and make shit out of scrap. Junkrat was extremely good at making explosives. Roadhog is fucking big and has like a big metal hook and shit like that. So it's very much like a techno scrap style of like junk and shit. So Roadhog and Junkrat are both from the middle of Australia, Junkertown. That's what happened in Australia. Not much else to go off from there. They're just sort of there, and now they're fighting Overwatch for some reason. Who the fuck cares? Sigma, old man can't stop floating. Sigma was a scientist who got caught up in a gravity experiment on the ISS and went batshit insane, but also now has gravity powers and works for Talon. Blah? He essentially is explained in-game as, like, working for Talon, developing weapons and stuff, but, like, what the fuck? He's also... There's a lot of these characters that look really weird. Sigma's one of them. Soldier 76, old man can't stop committing crimes. That is 6 words, but fuck you. Sombra, the 1990 film Hackers, trademark, to make it 5.
Yeah.
Sombra was the displaced youth from Mexico. She later became a hacker and pulled off the classic, look, I got photos of you doing something naughty with the head of Volskaya Industries, and just ransomed them, and kind of works for Talon, but kind of not, but kind of just criminal person. Again, a lot of people who are in the playable list are just criminals or good people in the world. Symmetra, I mentioned earlier. How does light do that? Torbjorn, small man, has big gun. He's the engineer. He can create a turret. He's essentially the engineer from Team Fortress 2, except Swedish.
Nice.
He's basically a dwarf.
So he's basically just improved.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Tracer, stop looking at my ass. I've put that on there because there was a big controversy in the beginning of Overwatch where she had a taunt where she would look over her shoulder and there was like a butt thing, and someone made a forum post of like, oh, why? This is sexist. And everyone was like, okay, cool. And then they just removed it from the game. But then a bunch of other people were like, what the fuck? It's not even that, like, bad. She's just, like, looking at you. Like, it was this whole thing that went back and forth. I don't have a particular side for it, but there is a lot of porn of Tracer. I'm just gonna put it out there.
All I know is there was like the thing later, but I guess I never missed, bro, or whatever shit.
Yeah.
I don't know what's.
I missed all of this.
I have no
stuff.
clue what. I've heard of Tracer.
Yeah.
I know she has time thing and teleport somewhat.
Yeah, so in a lot of the imagery for Overwatch, she has very tight pants on, and so there's like a, sexist sort of thing, and it's like, not really. It's not like anything overtly sexist. She was literally just looking over her shoulder, and she's wearing pants, so It's one of these things. Next one is Widowmaker. Stop looking at my ass. She has the exact same problem. There's so much porn of these two. It's incredible. Winston, the gorilla. Stop looking at my ass.
Love it.
JK, it was Angry Gorilla Wanna Eat Banana. Wrecking Ball. How he fucking make that? Wrecking Ball is the fighter name of Hammond, who was the hamster that crashed into Australia. Yeah. He went and landed in Junkertown, where he turned his little escape pod into a mech, where he then used it to fight under the name Wrecking Ball because he didn't want people to find out he was a hamster. So I guess he just scuttles off after every fight and then hides in a shack. Who fucking knows?
Love it.
Second last one, Zarya. Strong Russian wants to lift. Zarya was the soldier ex-bodybuilder from Russia. She gets sent out after some people and is a soldier and mercenary, etc., etc., etc. She also has gravity weapons. I don't know why. And then Zenyatta, peaceful Omnic monk wants violence. This guy was a member of the Omnic monk order who the Mendata got killed. Remember the Omnic peace leader?
Yeah.
So he's part of that. After Genji left Overwatch, he taught Genji how to be sort of at peace with his cyborg parts because he was having a hard time adapting. So Zenyatta and Genji are good pals because Zenyatta was like, make peace with your robot parts, and Genji was like, sick.
Weeb.
Yeah. And finally, just as a final bit, this isn't a character that's involved in the game, but I found it in the cut characters section, and it makes me want to cry because I cannot describe how sad it makes me that this didn't make it into the game. Quote, there is a female Russian hero was pitched early days of development. Wait for it. She would be riding a bear and dual-wielding AK-47s. Her ultimate would be that her bear would also pull out AK-47s. I cannot describe how badly I want that.
So basically just like Vladimir Putin if he was a girl.
Yeah, it was so good. Yeah, so that's the cast of Overwatch. That's the current situation. That's our set.
That's fucking amazing. I want a bear that...
I want a bear with double AK-47s. I thought that'd be a good finisher, because, oh boy.
Yeah.
Where does it keep its AK-47s?
Who the fuck cares?
I do. I want to know where it keeps it. I want to know. Does it... Are they up its ass? Where does it keep its AK-47?
Maybe she has them and she passed them down to him.
She passed them down to him.
Well, also, video game characters have a habit of sort of just putting their hand in their armpit and pulling out like AK-47.
That's a good point. They really do.
Reaching over the back allows you.
How many video games characters have bag of holding?
Every single video game character ever has a dimensional space like right behind their neck.
Yeah. They go whoa. Yeah, they even do that in Star Wars. Yeah. Well, that's.
Yeah. Matt, that's because they were force dyads.
Oh yeah. Fuck me.
So that's the world of Overwatch, and that's the characters that we have. There is Overwatch 2 that's coming out soon, which seems to be going into the fight between Overwatch and Null Sector because it's easy to do a player versus enemy like mob type like swarm attack battle thing. Although there's not that
More lore.
More war, yeah.
More lore.
Oh, more lore, maybe. I might do
and more lore.
I could do more lore on the second episode, but it depends on what comes out with the second game. It looks just like an extension of the current one.
Okay, I was gonna say, is it still gonna be PvP or is it gonna be like a PvE sort of thing?
Not a lot of details out about it. It looks kind of like it's PvE, but I'm not a massive part of the Overwatch community. I could be totally fucking wrong.
It could be like 2 Fortress 2 where they have like some PvE.
I'm just vaguely aware that it's out. It's not out. It's available. Like information and trailer, but it's like a trailer of like a bunch of the Overwatch heroes just skating towards a bunch of robots, so I can only presume what I've seen.
Maybe it's like a
also the trailer was released in like 2019 or 2018, so and they just haven't done anything with it yet. So
while I was googling the other guys before the images, Overwatch 2 came up and it's supposedly it's Feb 2021.
Ooh, that's fun to look at.
Maybe if it's like if Overwatch is Team Fortress 2 but like Blizzard's version. Maybe this is going to be Left 4 Dead Blizzard version.
That could be good. Yeah, so that's that. That's the lot. That's them.
Nice.
It'll be interesting to see where they go from here. It's interesting to know what caused the Omnic Crisis and a bunch of other stuff and where Overwatch goes from here. My hope is that they draw a conclusion, but the way that the story kind of goes, it seems sort of like it's like, oh, and then they got big, and then they got big, and then they got bigger, and then they got bigger, and then they got bigger, and they got shut down, and so they were big, and then more people came up, and they were bigger.
I like how like the huge thing that started this whole thing was that the AI got turned the AI got problems, right? But the AI got turned off nearly towards the end of the story, and Russia's just fucking dealing with the entire issue.
Just chilling.
And like the world's like, oh no, it's fine. Russia's got this.
They'll be
Russia's
fine.
like, help.
That's where the old lady with the
Yeah,
AKs
that's what she's doing.
busy fighting the robots.
Single-handedly holding back the AI.
That's why we'll see her in Overwatch 2, because she's going to come out and she's going to be a playable character, because
she's gonna be like, "Hey guys, can you fucking help? I'm doing all the work.
I know
over
you've got
here."
superpowers, but I have a fucking bear and 4 AK-47s.
She's gonna be like Captain Marvel in Endgame, you know, just comes down, just fucking solos things.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Did you guys have any other questions about any characters or anything? Anything that interested you particularly about corporations or something like that?
Who's your favorite, Matt?
Ooh, there's a lot of good ones. I like Monk Robot dude.
Zenyatta?
Who's
or
like
do you like
peaceful
Mendata?
One of them.
Mendata's the leader, Zenyatta's the one who helped Genji with his Roby pieces.
Okay, they're both cool. I have seen a photo of the robot thing, so it looks really cool.
Yeah.
I also do very much like Thunder Fist boy, who can just fucking punch through anything.
He's just got big hands.
His prison escapes give me very much what's that movie with the singing animals?
A lot of them.
The one with the singing animals and the gorilla sings and his dad breaks out of prison just to come see him sing.
Oh, isn't it just called Sing?
It is called Sing, you're right.
Yeah, it is called Sing, yeah. And the dad, I was getting vibes of the dad breaking out of prison just to come see his son sing. He could break out of because you know he has the big, he could break out at any time, but he just needs a good reason to do so. So this was his reason.
Bonk.
Yeah.
Bonk.
Jude, favorite characters?
Well, back when I used to play this game, I played Anna because it was fun being the sniper and healing people and stuff. But then also I think I just played like a little bit of Hammond because he just came out before we kind of left that scene. So
Hammond's got his wrecking ball, and he's got like, you can turn into ball form and then shoot out a like grappling hook, which lets you like wrecking ball around the arena, which can be extremely fun.
You could do things where you'd like stick the grappling hook into a corner and then just like spin around the corner bashing people.
It's very good.
What? So this sounds fucking insane.
There's a lot of very dynamic combat in Overwatch. It's very movement based. It's pretty interesting. It's good. Personal favorite, I've got 2. Mercy, because I always play healers. I don't know why. Also because Mercy has...
You're a support character.
Well, I am a support character. I'm a secondary character in whatever TV series it is.
In life, you're a support
She has
character.
a healing beam. This is when I played it. She has a healing beam, which could like heal people. And she also has a pistol. So you can be healing people and then they die and then the enemy starts coming for you. But if you've got your pistol and you're like good enough with it and can dodge around corners, she can also fly a little bit. So if you're nimble enough, you can just fucking murder people. The best thing I ever had was a Reaper, because Reaper's an offensive character. He has dual shotgun pistols. Came like chasing after me. I was just dodging him, just like beep, 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 beep. Got him. And then Junkrat as well, because Junkrat has some very cool explosive things and it's just fun to throw down a mine and just nuke people.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah, and his ultimate is he pulls out a tire which can roll through the map and you can like guide it. It's like Call of Duty, the like remote control explosive cars. It's like that, except it actually does like a shitload of damage and you can just roll it into the middle of enemies and just it's very good.
Yeah, for people who don't play videos, ultimates are like the major ability they get at the end to do the maximum damage.
Yeah, so usually you've got something along the line of a passive ability, which means that you do something just kind of passively. You have a couple of different active abilities, which you can like, you know, shoot a rocket or pull out a different type of gun or do a movement ability like fly. And then ultimate is something you charge up through damaging or being damaged, and it's just like a big thing.
Yeah, basically.
It's good.
Cool. Awesome. Anything else we want to add, or this is setting it up?
No, that's about all.
Because all I can think of in looking at technology and how it kind of rules our world, we kind of need technology nowadays. Because you guys should get on your technologies and follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and don't let those AI get you down. We'll
Shameless.
We'll support you.
Shameless.
Make sure to, and if you enjoy,
your AI is 90% less likely to uprise against you if you use it to subscribe to our podcast and review us on iTunes. You absolute monster.
It has been proven by many studies done by gorillas that that if you give us 5 stars on iTunes, the AI.
Your
the
microwave is less likely to kill you.
Yeah, it's
And
less likely to go and kill you.
It's still less likely even if you just give us an honest review and tell us what you want to see us do
Yeah.
or see us improve. We interact on that.
Slightly more likely to kill you, but it's minimal.
Also, we're fucking tiny. If you comment on Facebook, we will interact with you. My God, we love interacting.
I'm happy to
with people.
interact. We are happy to interact.
It'd be very good.
Yeah. Awesome. Well,
Alternatively, if you wish, we can promise that you won't be interacted with by Matthew.
it's either one. If you want, just leave a comment. Just let us know what you want, and we're happy to provide. I can either be very interactive or not interactive at all, or extremely interactive. Those are my three modes.
We also currently on Facebook, if you jump on there, we are asking for favorite moments from the show. We're doing a little project of collation for possibly a little promo for the show, just to put out as a summary piece. If you do have anything that you really like from the show or any moments that you think would be good to add to that, we'd absolutely love to hear what you have to say about that, because we don't want to decide what you guys might like. So
comment on the post or send us a little message. We're good at replying on Facebook.
We're
so
really good at replying on Facebook. We've got the very fast.
Or email us.
We've got the very fast reply thing for
messages,
messages, which I love.
I'm bad at replying at Gmail.
Oh yeah, Gmail.
Still email us. If you're an official person, email us.
Go for it.
Sounds more official. Awesome. Well, I think that's it for today. Thank you so much, Guy. That was an amazing look into the world of Overwatch.
Thank you too for participating in my fun world discussions.
And for another great video game looked into, and I am even more scared of every robot, every computer I look at. Thank you, Guy, for perpetuating my fear of technology every day.
Yes.
You do AR, VR. I'm in security. You think that I'm not scared of them?
Yeah. I'm researching AI. I'm researching VR and how it works with individuals and how they can interact. But
I'm doing pen testing and security and hearing and hacking news about how people. Ooh.
Oh, scary.
Scary.
And Jude, what are you doing again? How's the music going?
Good.
Nice. Jude's the only creative one in the group.
He's so good. We need him.
He just we need him to keep that voice. He makes good music.
My brain was just like trying to break down if you were trying to be like roasting from the sense
I
of
wasn't
like,
being
haha, you
roasting.
don't do IT.
I wasn't being roasted. I was legit asking.
It did. I'll admit, Matt, it sounded a little roasty.
I only roast that you do an arts degree. That's about it. Love you, Jude.
Oh, good. Well, thank you all for listening. Make sure to rate and review.
Just for that,
on
I'm going to
iTunes.
make the next episode have no music.
No, no, we love you, editor. We love you, glorious editor.
Yeah.
Thank you so.
We'll be back next week. And
because we're off schedule.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, so this will be up this week, and we'll have an episode up next week as well, because we're getting back on schedule. Sorry about last week. That was just a bit of a scheduling issue. We're very busy with uni students, but that's just how we do.
We're just doing the best we can.
We are. But thank you so much for listening. I hope you had a great time, and good night.
Goodbye.
I love you.
Whoa.
I'm not ready for that.
I
yet.
love you.
I don't know if we're ready for this kind of
whoa.
game.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is only like the 17th date.
Oh, whoa.
Oh, whoa.
Only the 17th date?
When do you say I love you?
I'm fucking married by this point. I am married to every subscriber that we have. I will take you down the aisle.
I'll marry you.
I will take you cardinally.
I'll marry you. Okay, I'm ending the recording now.
I hate that we have people who we know who listen to the show who are going to hear me yell, I will take you cardinally in the background as the music fades out.
Thank you for listening to Living by the Law. If you enjoyed our podcast, please leave us a review on iTunes and tell your friends. The link is in the description, and thank you in advance. Also, follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Living by the Law to keep updated on all the latest about our podcast. We have been, and always will be, living by the law. Thank you for your company, and good night.